Ninja? Ninja! Ninja!
It's 11:59 at Radio Free America, and this is Uncle Sam with music and the truth until dawn. Right now, I got a few words for some of our brothers and sisters in the occupied zone. The chair is against the wall. The chair is against the wall. John has a long mustache. John has a long mustache. It's 12 o'clock, Americans, another day closer to victory. And for all of you out there on or behind the lines, this is your song.
All right, welcome everybody to our daily gun show. Come to you live every weeknight at midnight Eastern. We talk about guns for an hour. So welcome everybody who's joining us live. Got our co-host Puppy here. You'll see we have a thing here that says ask us about a new robot. Let's talk about a new robot for a minute. We have a campaign going over on the Indiegogo. You saw that cool video that Foss made for us that talks about this cool idea that we're trying to get a new sewing machine for our store over here so that we can do things. And I don't know how many, show of hands, people that remember when we had the other sewing machine, what we do when we have a sewing machine, what we're able to accomplish when we've got that resource. So if you're interested in being part of that world where I have a 15 color sewing robot to do our bidding, then what we need to do is get, I don't know, 10 approximately 90% more than what we got there, 10 times where we're at now. Need to bring in about 140 people. We're at about almost 20. So we need, 5 times more than we got now. So if you're part of it, awesome. Thank you. Help us share it. If you're not part of it, totally understand. It's a lot of money for something that you don't even care about. But if you can help share it, then guess what happens when I have a robot that makes patches? I tend to be able to do things with that. So, also hats this time around, and then you can wing other things in there. I'm already figuring out what kind of things I can wing under there. So thanks for helping with the campaign, but however, it's been kind of stalled here for a couple of 3 to 4 days. So if you're able to help share that, let people know about it, that's what the internet's all about. All right, so with that said, we do have this little thing here that says about the robot. We also have this down here, talks about our Patreons, people that make it possible for us to do what we're doing. So as you might be able to notice, we've got this counter here, which rolls in and out. There's a printer back there. This little thing rolls in and out. It's got a mouse on it. And this is over here because I was putting my patch collection over here. I bought a bunch of those welcome mats, thanks to Patriot in the Dark, for the suggestion of using the welcome mats from a Dollar Tree store. They cost $1.25, and they're great. I've been sorting out the collection on there. I think they're actually one of the better ways, all the years I've had patches, one of the better ways to configure the collection. So as I've been taking apart my patch collections, which have really just been in a bunch of baggies because I didn't know any other way to display them anymore or enjoy them, I was going through and pulling them out of those baggies and doing just that, enjoying them, recollecting, remembering where they all came from, what they represent, who gave them to me, and when, where we were, and why we were there. All those things are part of what patches can represent to the person who, possesses the patch panel, the one who creates the thing. So I wanted to take the beginning of this show. We've got people joining us now. Welcome to everybody who's out there. Looks like Defense Dad was the first one out there. DJ, 2 Live Moo, Mentos, it's all out there. Good evening. If you're out there and you're not one of those people, we don't know because you're not taking advantage of the interactive nature of the internet. which is what we value. It's why we do this show in a live format, and I don't prepare a scripted presentation. I'm not stupid. I know what would work better on the internet, when to present that. But instead, I like to go live. I value the interactive nature of the internet. I do value the people that are up at night, either the insomniacs who just enjoy the peace and quiet of the evening, the people who are doing double the work as everybody else and working their second shift at night, doing their part-time gig, their passion, or those people that are working the overnight, people that get stuff done, clean everything, ship everything, repair everything, all the stuff that gets taken for granted by the daytime people. So thanks for joining us, and thanks for participating in the chat. As I said, it takes about 10 minutes for everybody to realize the chat happened. Now tonight, yeah, it was a little bit late. Somebody needed to go outside. So we started a little bit late, but looks like we got Tim S. out there also tonight. Defense Dad is up late editing photos, but my eyes are beginning to go buggy. Yep. You ever done the deal where you just kind of lean back, take like a washcloth or something, run some water on it, hot or cold, depending on the type of situation it is, and then just lean back and let that washcloth be on your face, on your eyes for a bit? Can sometimes give you some hydration and a little bit just relaxation and a stretch all at the same time. Get back to it if you got something to do. Otherwise, maybe that's an indication that it's time to take a nap. Ron Wayne is out there checking in a bit before bed. Right on. Thanks for joining in. All right. So again, as people are joining in and checking in, thanks for that. But I really wanted to just take a minute here at the beginning of the show, once it got cooking, to say thanks to everybody who makes it possible for us to do what we do. A lot of people just say that, and I'm not saying thanks because I can make videos all day. I don't really make videos that often. I don't count this as a video. What I am able to do is see the big picture and get some things accomplished in the big picture. There's a lot of stuff going on out there, a lot of moving parts, and after years in the game, it became frustrating to see some of the mechanisms that get used against us, some of the natural situations that exist amongst groups of people, right? You get shotgun shooters and you got semi-automatic handgun shooters, and then you got bolt action rifle shooters. They're all gun owners. They're just never going to see things the same way, right? And there's just certain things that are going to be worked against us because of that. And after years of seeing that, after years of attempting to help those who were whittling away at those edges, making some rounded edges so that things work together a little bit better, and seeing the scams there and the false starts and the inability for people to accomplish those kind of things, I've taken upon myself to just work on a couple of those things in the last couple of years. I don't want to jinx nothing, and I can't say that I'm doing anything other than standing in places and not moving and poking at things that could be poked. But it's a hell of a lot of other people that make things happen. And I just want to take a second at the beginning of this show, maybe more than a second, to say thanks. In 2015, when I started to be activist, like I say, I got, just like anybody who's new to something, I had a lot of fancy dreams, a lot of good ideas, because I could see the way that all the Tetris pieces could fit together. After a few years, I guess 7 or 8 years of attempting to get the Tetris pieces to move or to shift or shuffle or rotate or whatever it is, I found out that it's not just a Tetris game, it's a pickup sticks. It's something where you don't get to move the pieces. Sometimes you have to deal with the voids, and you have to deal with the gaps, and you have to deal with the inefficiencies. So again, I really appreciate the ability to be able to do that the last couple of years now. And again, rolling out my sleeves and doing it. I'm not doing it like efficiently like some kind of ninja or robot, but it is making some headway. And I think that there's going to be some positive results in a big way. We're building some foundational steps. We're building some incubators so that people who have real value, who are adding to the mix, are being helped. So that they're being strengthened. That's the right word. They're getting things that aren't always available to everybody. So I really appreciate the ability of being able to do that over the last couple of years. It's not easy and it's not comfortable at all. but it's been possible. So thanks for that. All right, so I guess I'm gonna go see how hot this water's getting because this coffee is not warm anymore. You take over the show, puppy. I guess what we'll do is we'll do another quick commercial for the sewing machine. Okay, we'll go click this. Oh yeah, much better when it's warmer. All right, so with that, we'll dig into tonight's show. Still kind of playing with how we're going to go with season 8, season 8 of Daily Gun Show, but I think I've got it figured out. We'll see how it works with everything. But tonight we labeled it Robots versus Giant Squid. We'll see if anybody wants to join in tonight, be part of a conversation on giant robots. And if so, you want a link. Otherwise, we'll just dig in here for a bit. So Defense Dad is saying, editing photos, but my eyes are beginning to go. Oh, we already said that one. Here we go. Took the kid on a photo shoot expedition day after school, so I fired up Lightroom. Oh, okay. Lightroom is essentially where you edit the photos to be better color and lighting, not so much removing something like a tree from the background or a dog or something, or cropping or making a mosaic or something like that. I think that's what Lightroom is. It's more of just the technical adjustment of the images. Trying to attach my ears thing, my headset to this camera. I don't know if it's working or not. So come on, a robot versus a squid. We all know a squid only has a beak. What? They got all them tentacles. Plus, they can use their brains to outmaneuver the robot, maybe. A wet squid would out-short circuit the robot? Or would short circuit it? See, that's one of the things. That's the first question you have to ask. First question I would ask: is this robot squid battle happening in the water or not? I feel like a giant squid doesn't get to be a giant squid without being able to get out of the water once in a while, lift some weights or move them, knock over some rocks or something. Terrorize a town, eat stuff, right? They got to eat an elephant or something once in a while. If they're a giant squid, they're going to get sick of eating whales all the time. So they're going to want to exercise their stuff. So think of like one of them aliens that walks around on really long legs. That's how a squid would walk around. If it was a giant squid, it would have more muscles than a regular squid. A robot, I think it's silly to think that a robot's going to short circuit in 2023. Come on. What do you think? Robots don't work underwater? I've seen robots underwater before. So I feel like robots could be waterproofed. All right, so Lightroom, practicing because I'm getting back into photography as a side business. Got to get some equipment though. Well, that's interesting. So since Monday is classically the technical side of it, let's talk about that side of it. So I'm going to change the what do you call this thing? The poll. So we got 12 votes. It's silly. A bunch of people are voting silly. They're saying that the squid is going to beat a robot. Well, I think that's crazy. But here's the deal. The next poll is going to be a more realistic poll. Let's see. Starting a small business. Do you need all the equipment to start a small biz? Question mark. Especially a part-time small business, but we'll just say small biz. And then we'll just go with yes and no. And then we'll go with for all the narcs that are watching. A bunch of people get paid by the government to watch this show, and I don't care. But I don't get monetized anymore, so it doesn't affect me. But the poll is now. I wish there was a way to highlight the poll. Do you need all the equipment to start a small business? So, do you need all the equipment right away to start a small business, or do you need all the equipment to start a small business, or do you need all the equipment to start a small business? So you can read that a couple of different ways, and they all do mean something different. But I think the answer is pretty much always going to be the same. Squid can throw the robot into underwater lava. All right. Well, yeah. And also there's those underwater tubes of hot water. I don't know, some kind of spa that happens underwater, or into one of those trenches. So would a squid who is designed to be all squishy and essentially just made out of mucus with muscles versus a robot that has an exoskeleton? That's the robot's flaw. It's got an exoskeleton. We are almost never exploit that though. Almost everything, even if it's a regular like fancy robot that doesn't have an exoskeleton, like a cyborg, it's still going to have computer components, and those have shells and cases and stuff. So if you take all that stuff down to low enough pressure, that squid is just going to squish out and not care because it's all mushy anyway. But the robot's going to collapse in on itself and break. So I think you could also push a robot down deep enough into the water to kill it. But no one ever talks about that. I think underneath the box, not just outside the box, underneath the box. So that's that saying, yeah, you need the basics, but then after it starts generating money, you can buy more. Yeah, I think there's something to that, but then also renting is what I was going to say. There's the, just get the stuff for when you need it and just incorporate that into your rates right off the bat. Because then you never have to, if you incorporate rental right off the bat and you find some place that you can rent a variety from, then I think there's a lot of advantage there, especially for something like photography. I'd like to do it with drones, but I don't know how to, I don't know if anybody's renting drones. So I don't know what kind of photography business you're talking about, but I've been wanting to do the drone thing as a revenue thing. There's lots of photography places that you can make money, generating money on the side also. I started a few when I was doing my drone stuff before the drone busted. I was looking at how to make money with a drone, and I joined a couple of services where you put your photographs, and then if somebody wants one, they license it off you, and those things can be pretty lucrative. So I'm not sure what kind of photos you have or what kind of photos you're interested in taking, but I essentially just posted a bunch of random pictures, I guess, pictures of like Arizona and the dogs, and I don't know, a couple of different just kind of random pictures, maybe out from travels and stuff, restaurants and food, and general pictures. I take pictures of all kinds of stuff. And then I posted that stuff, and then I've been offered to do headshots at like a retail, or no, what's it called? A realtor. Like they wanted somebody to do headshots, and then another place wanted essentially pictures of campgrounds. And then I've gotten a couple of other requests to do that kind of stuff too. And it pays, it pays money. Gizzards out there, good evening. Or I say DJ's out there. So the poll right now is whether or not you need to have all the equipment to start a small business. And it looks like most people are saying no. And I wonder if that's because they're saying that because they agree with that, or they're saying that because they hate small businesses and they don't want to see any small businesses happening. Oh, let's see. Defense Dad is saying, I'm starting with a mid-level camera body, 2 lenses, and some filters. I'm doing street photography and outdoor portraits as well as stock photography. So I don't know what that's for. Is that for people who want to just give a picture to somebody, or have it for like, I don't know, like a school thing, or is it for like your LinkedIn picture or your real estate sign or something, or your business card? Is it that kind of pictures? I guess that's what all pictures are, something of that. Is there any such thing as interning anymore? Working with somebody to get started or help somebody to get started? Panasonic Lumix G85. If anybody wants a link, let me know. Otherwise, we'll look at this now. Panasonic G85. So there's a P85, which is an interesting Ruger pistol. All right, this looks like a camera. Oh, there's Bob. I heard that your C21 is got blocked. Is that true? That you're temporarily okay again? Bob saying the robot wins all day. I think a robot can win all day for sure. So I don't know, did you already buy this camera? I don't know what characteristics make a camera body so good. Probably the screen on the back, and it's probably everything, because it's probably all its guts and stuff. Looks pretty neat. I'm assuming that screen can flip forward. Here, I'll just do this. If somebody wants to jump in, join in tonight. Oh, I'll guess. Wrong. Put it like this. So let's see. Oh, Gunpowder Beauty's out there. I guess I'm only looking over on the one side, so now I'm looking at the actual side over here. Let's see. Just the amendment still going after handguns and the ARs. That's frustrating. I mean, the good news, I think, on any of this kind of stuff is that it shows their hand, so to speak, and hopefully it'll be that much more difficult for that party and for parties with that kind of agenda to continue to win. I guess we'll see. Time will tell with that. It's easier said than dealt with, I'm sure. All right, well, I just somehow accidentally wrong my button that I was fiddling with here, like far away. Stock photography, you sell the rights to your images through online sites for use in ads. Yeah, exactly. Is that what you're talking about doing? That's what I'm doing. That's what I've been doing. So I haven't sold any yet, but I've got it on a few sites to sell it. But the site, one of the sites where I have the pictures up, I keep getting requests to do gigs, to do work. I had it all figured out to do this one, but then for reasons I wasn't able to do it. I was planning on it though, and it was pretty decent. It was like essentially $100 to go take 15 pictures, and you could do that a bunch of times. So I was planning on doing it a few times. And then it was hundreds of bucks to go take the photographs. Well, nobody's saying anything. Nobody's jumping in. I'm going to go check out the Instagram, I guess. Maybe we'll do an Instagram update while we're sitting here. And then I can check. Oh, no, I didn't get anything from Instagram. So I'll screen share here. Put the puppy in the puppy cam down here. We can all take a monitor this little puppy down here getting petted. But we can also go check on the Instagrams. What do we got over here? Children National Defense Education. So looks like in China, kids learn how to disassemble handguns. That kid's taking too long. What's wrong with that kid? The kid's using the magazine to take out the pin. That's pretty smart. Wonder if that's made to do that. So you can tell a kid in the front of the class is spaz. This kid knows exactly what's going on. Bam, he's all into it. This kid already got the back end all figured out. This kid up to par doing his thing. This kid, back of the class. This kid getting lost. This kid doing his thing. So half of them kids are on the ball. The other half of them going to be put in the middle. So got a cert pistol giveaway going on with what is this all about? Subscribe to Meet the Pressers. A riding shotgun. So it looks like they're still giving away cert pistols, and then I wonder what that Mantis X is all about. The cert, I don't know about. The Mantis X, it's pretty interesting. Oh, you can win a cert or a Mantis. The Mantis is pretty neat. I shot that at SHOT Show this year. Let's see, do I have the video of that? Maybe I do. Oh, you know where I put it? I put it here. And then put it here. Come on. And then it's in here. And then in here. And then I would have to zoom in a bunch. What day would that be? Which day would it be? Is this it? This kind of looks like it. That's a 6-minute video. That might be it.
Take a picture with us? Sure.
What are we doing?
Are you a right-handed shooter?
Yes.
Okay. So, the sensor here, the X10, is our shooting performance system, and it's tracking your movement during the shooting process. So it's not a laser, it's not a camera.
Or trigger action.
Yep, exactly. So it picks up 400 data points per second. So when I move my gun,
This is GPS.
no, it's accelerometer and gyroscope.
Okay, so the same kind of thing as like a video game
Yep.
controller.
Yep.
Okay.
So you can see as it's tracking my movement, I can't hold it still. It's all over the place.
Right, but you can start to see your pattern.
Yeah, so when I press trigger, it takes like a little snapshot of all that movement, shows me where the shot went, tracks how I got to that shot. So you want me to just
Sure.
do the shooting?
Appreciate it.
Okay, so I'm going to take 10 shots.
Oh, so it doesn't matter where you're shooting.
Nope.
It doesn't care. It's like gun. Okay. And this is a firearm with a CO2.
Yep. So we just use it for demo purposes. Okay. I hit done. I get an average score of 93.2 based off 100 being a bullseye. So these are where all my shots went. Every red section is a shot. And the bigger the red, the bigger there. So when I click on a red section, it shows me what I'm doing wrong, what I should be doing, and how I can fix it.
These are stock videos, of course.
Yeah.
Okay, but it
And
gives
they're a
you
little
a visual
exaggerated.
indication.
Yeah.
Yes, exactly.
So people can really understand what's going on and what's happening. So there's 14 different corrections on the wheel. Again, what we're doing wrong, what we should be doing, how we can fix it. So when I go over here to my
So
data,
it's not just some data recovery, but it's a little coaching as well.
yes, that's the biggest thing is what we're trying to help every shooter at every level get better. So we got shot orders, scores, and splits. I click on a shot, it takes me to my live trace. It shows me what happened during that shot. I can play it back. Blue is my pre-sight acquisition. Yellow is my trigger press into the shot and the muzzle after. So it records every piece of information before and during the trigger press.
Right. And now, will competitive shooters be able to see like from this
you
kind
can.
of?
That's when it gets really geeky. Is when competitive shooters are going, okay, I've got this pattern.
Like this is when I curled my knuckle, and this is when I started to.
But what we're really looking at is that yellow trigger press. What am I doing when that trigger action
You're
is
trying to
pressed?
get that to be a
Yeah,
dot.
because the blue, my pre-sight alignment, technically I can move it all over like this in random patterns. But when I slow down and try to make that shot, what's happening during that trigger press? So,
But at the same time, you don't have to go straight to detail. You got that rough kind of overview if you're just know what the deal is, and you just have to practice.
Absolutely. So, this is kind of just open training where you can kind of see what your tendencies are. So we have,
and this would be a phone. It doesn't have to be a tablet.
right. Most people are going to use their phones. We use phones. So we're going to see. We got a 5-stage holster draw analysis tool, compress, price break, tons of different little drills that you can do to get better as a shooter, and then courses, instructional courses to help you advance. So you start with basic marksmanship. Once you finish with that, you can move on to advanced marksmanship.
So it's turning your
really?
gun into a video game controller, and then it is a video game essentially.
Or a blue gun, or no, do you need a trigger, or
you
can you
need
just
something that's going
to give you some resistance?
Yeah.
But if you just wanted to do like sight alignments, you could put it up to a blue gun and not worry about the trigger press or something if you didn't have something handy. It just sounds like you could put it in a lot.
You could. You're just not getting any recorded data.
It records at the trigger, so that kind of does like a dash cam, but back and forth.
Yeah.
Okay, so that makes sense.
I don't typically train with CO2. With CO2, we do. People like to hear.
But a reset kit for a gun that doesn't reset, or just a gun that has
we're working on a trigger reset, but for pistol, but right now for striker fire, you just have the racker slide. That's it for the X10.
Okay, and then I'm going to be competing for a scavenger hunt, which is a cool thing set up by Tough.
Yep.
And coordinated by Tough, and it's a bunch of these patches. And if you, in this place is a challenge. You're going to have to shoot the 75% or better in order to earn the badge.
Yep.
Right on.
So nice and easy. Take your time. This is not time.
Okay. And is it for accuracy, or is it for?
It's accurate. That 75 is how close you are to your bullseye. The bullseye being 100.
Okay.
So if you take your time, take 10 shots.
Any distance?
Any distance. So distance doesn't matter because it's a Bluetooth connection.
So it's more of a determination of trigger control than accuracy on a specific distance or something like that.
Yeah, you can if you want to know about distance.
So should I just go, or do I have to do anything?
You can. I don't know how good a one-handed shooter you are if you're going to be able to get the 75. So if you want, I can record you.
I don't mind. I'll try. So that's good to go now?
Well, you just turn the safety on.
That's what I thought. So
there won't be CO2.
Now it's good to go?
Yep.
Okay. So I just need to find a consistent point to aim at.
I was trying to get it so you could see the score at the same time I'm shooting. I was shooting for the bottom of the triangle there.
How many am I doing?
10. 1.6.
81, right on. And I didn't have to edit or nothing. Right on. So I got a badge? Awesome. Hey, thank you for doing the scavenger hunt, and thank you for making people do something for you. That's so cool. I've only had one other challenge.
Well, thanks for saying that. A lot of people get frustrated with
Yeah, that's true. That's awesome. Yeah, that's cool. A lot of fun. Have you done it before? Scavenger hunt?
No, not yet.
Me either. It's my first year doing it. Everybody who's done it for the first time said it was pretty cool. So good to hear that feedback. All right, so thanks to Tough for organizing it, and thanks to Mantis for the insight on this cool product. I thought it was just another reset blue gun. This is a lot more than that. Thanks again. Hopefully you're having a great show. You're right here by the entrance to the other buildings. Hopefully that's fun to let a bunch of people through. And thanks again.
That was the Mantis thing, so you can win one of them with Riding Shotgun with Charlie or Meet the Pressers with their show. Let's see. Pot of Gold has a coin auction, it looks like, tomorrow. Coin only. Cape Gunworks will be doing their show with Grace Curley tomorrow. What's going on here? They're pulling out those things. I've got a drawer full of those things. Oh, come on. They took apart a whole thing just to do that? Oh, that's cheesy. So I've got a whole bucket of those things. I just bought at a place one time. Demoliere, one of the best places, one of the best sources for news about what's going on, what's really going on in Mexico. Super interesting learning about the cartels. The little dog always sits like this because he's broken. Bannerman Castle at night, pretty neat. That's Jake from Walk Talk America. We got our 2A rally coming up in Phoenix this weekend. Oh, balloon rides canceled until further notice. It's too funny. All right, so that's just a sample of the people I'm following on Instagram. But what we'll do is go over to our saved folder and check out the stuff that we've saved for a while. Sometimes I do this stuff on Tuesday. What's that nifty doodad cost? I don't know. I don't even think about it. It's probably hundreds of bucks though. I don't know. Does Gizzard or DJ know? DJ won one. Let's see. Yeah, it definitely gets weird when you start thinking about, teaching kids. But then, somewhere BB guns and squirt guns and video games are in there too. I don't know how far back to go. Let's see. Yeah, I really have no idea how far back to go. We'll go back to this one where I was taking a look at a mil-spec monkey thing. Got Pink's patch in there, a couple hours. Doing some trades with Monkey. I got a bunch of these. I don't have all of them, but I got a bunch of the ones on this page. Oops. So then we can scoot forward to Krabby Turtle. Got a bunch of stuff whenever we send stuff out. Thanks for posting. Great start shooting school. Puppy picture. Meet the Pressers was talking about taking a class of students from the New York over to Pennsylvania for that Great American Outdoor Show. I'm going to take a second again and go get a coat because it was super cold. So I'm going to put another commercial on here. I'm going to do the commercial for the machine again because we are trying to raise awareness of that campaign. It's only got 16 more days. Got the heater going on in here, and I went and got this out of the coldest room in the house, so this is going to be super cold. I'm going to go stand in front of the heater for a second. Put the puppy back on. You can watch Puppy wag his tail because I'm back in here. Where are you going, puppy? What do you want to do? Want to go in the car? Want to go in the car? Want to go for a ride? Want to go somewhere in the car? Want to go drive around? Huh? Want to go in the car? Who wants to go for the car? Want to go for a car? Oh, that's pretty good. All right. Essentially, I just that's the earphones getting in the way. I just kind of put my poncho on top of that heater, and I got myself a bunch of hot air. All right, now I'm going to stick my arms back through here, and we're good to go. All right, thanks for co-hosting. That's why he gets paid the big bucks for his co-hosting responsibilities. I used to have a Canadian do that, and now the little puppy does it for free. Let's see. Gunpowder Beater's leaving. Good evening. Ellen Anchors out there. Good afternoon. Let's see. Defense has saying the Mantis is fun. The kids use it all the time for dry fire when we can't get to the range. It's $300. $300. All right, so going back to here, let's see. We got Feinstein's assault weapons ban, Senate Bill 25. Let's go to the what chance does a bill have? GovTrack analysis. I think this is the thing. GovTrack. All right, I don't care. GovTrack home. How about that? Tracking the United States. So what is this thing called? SB 25. So let's type in SB 25. Assault weapons ban of 2023. Right? So prognosis, 5% chance of being enacted. 5% chance. So we should be aware. The last one got up to 14%, but we should also be aware, right? Like, let's be aware of what's really going on out there. All right, so if you have a bunch of people that can show up for your seminar and you explain stuff to them and they get all hot and bothered and they pay for the seminar and then they leave, you can just bring a bunch of new people in for a seminar, tell them the same thing, and you never have to change your seminar for a long, long time. You almost never have to change your seminar if you just always bring new people into your seminar. But in reality, we're not just a bunch of people who need to go to a seminar to hear it. What we are is a bunch of people who need to be educated, trained, inspired, and enabled to become the gun lobby and to change the dynamic. So instead of just getting upset at the score, start participating in the game. Once you got a bunch of players in the game, the score doesn't need to be told to them because they know the score. They just want to know what the details are so that they can play. Think about it. All right, next is Gun Owners America to sue the ATF over pistol brace ban. To win in court, we're going to need your sustained support. So there's 25 state attorney generals, a individual, and then the two companies involved that are suing them. And now the Gun Owners of America is participating. It'd be nice to have a scoreboard that we could see that court case and know who's attached and who's using it to talk about how things should get done or should be done. Let's see. Support the Second Amendment Foundation. And then there's a specific link here. Millions. We plan to file as soon as possible, but we're counting on your support. So it doesn't sound like they're quite to the point where they're doing it yet. Krabby Turtle posting from the Daily Gun Show on last Monday when we had Matt on. It was a good conversation. Let's see. Tony Simon, great post here. Gun control organizations use Black Deaths to push their disarmament agenda. They don't have an answer to gang violence. They don't advocate for better schools. They won't even help an old black woman cross the street. They are trying to take away our civil rights. Enemies, not allies. Pretty strong statement. Tony does a good way of bringing stuff up. I don't know if he listens to something and then reacts, or if people ask him a question and then he posts this. Like, I don't know what inspires him, because his posts are always insightful and I don't know what to say. Like they're multifaceted like that one. Like I don't know if he was thinking about that, if he's driving somewhere and had time to think that up, then just decided to post it. But he does it so frequently that I'm wondering if it isn't. He talks to a lot of people. If it isn't from conversations he has or something, and these are things that come up in the conversation or things that he thinks of as he's having conversations with people. All right, so let's see. The next one is Cape Gunworks. I imagine that's what it looks like in Massachusetts. There's Tony talking about coming to Arizona this weekend.
Good morning, everyone. It's Tony Simon doing my Route Run rant. Hey, how's that? Route 1 rant. I like that. Yeah, I might start using it. It's hilarious because I just started this video and the first person just walked in. I've been talking for like 10 seconds. Yo, what's going on? Hey, I'm over here on the way down Route 1 going to Trenton. And wanted to talk to you guys about the raffle that I have with the SB A3 Tactical Arm Brace. That's right, $5. $5. What I'm trying to do is raise money to get to Arizona for their 10th annual Second Amendment rally, in which I will be speaking. I'm trying to raise those funds so I can get out there. So I was on Action Cheryl Todd's program. We recorded yesterday. It'll be coming out shortly. I also was on the Target Radio recently. I'll be providing those links and Locked and Loaded Radio. So I've been around. Plus, I was on the Bullet Saturday and the Saturday before that, the weekly Bullet for Second Amendment Foundation. So why am I going on all these shows and talking about things? For a couple of reasons. One, I want to raise awareness of what's going on with the Second is for Everyone and the work we're doing here in New Jersey, Pennsylvania, and the fact that we're going to be doing a country a tour in May. We're putting that together right now. I was actually in discussions with some people in Harrisburg Sunday, about doing something out in Harrisburg, PA, maybe even sliding up into Ohio later on this year. I got plans. Let's just say I have plans. Plans require funding, and we're working on a few different things. Got a couple goals this year. I think I'll just make a live or do a video about what those goals are in 2023.
He goes on a little bit more. I'm going to move on though. So I thought I heard something going on outside.
Provide some, I don't know, more thought for our county council.
I mean, I think we haven't taken the vote yet, but I'm pretty sure that the spirit of this board is doing everything we can constitutionally to limit people's access to firearms. And we hope that when in your report back, you'll maybe tell us what we can't do, but then maybe tell us what we can do. But yes, gun thefts out of people's homes is a serious problem.
Serious problem. You're the problem. So that's from Triggerology, California. And yeah, it's frustrating, but that's when the Overton window moves and the people who are, never have to worry about nothing, think no one has to worry about nothing. And fear isn't the only motivator. Awareness eliminates that. They're only afraid because they think that guns are senseless. Professor Yamane does a great effort to illustrate why the other side doesn't hate you. They don't even hate guns. They hate what they are told guns create or guns do. We know that that's not the case, but knowing is only half the battle. You have to then make the other side aware of your awareness. So they don't have to just understand. They don't have to even listen, but they will pay attention and they will discover when guns are normal that they've been duped this whole time. We have the ability to end this. I am going to see what this message is because I've been waiting for a message over here on Instagram and I see that I'm at, what is this pocket all about? I'm gonna go see what this is all about. Yeah, well, let's find out. I don't know if you're still listening or not, but let's find out if we can't figure out, because if I'm driving up there, I can find out what to do. So here's the deal. Tony doesn't have a place up there, as far as I know. So I was thinking about getting a place up there that can take the dogs and then just letting Tony hang out, and then I could just hang out up there. Otherwise, I got to pay $100 every time I go back and forth with the freaking gas. So I'm thinking about getting a place up there. So we're going to go to here and then saved and then back to here. And we're going to go back to wherever we were a minute ago. It was the one where Tony was saying stuff. So it was after this. It was probably this. Yeah.
Fight some.
Triggerology. And now we've got North Dakota. Join the rest of the permitless states. So this is North Dakota, who I guess doesn't have constitutional carry for non-residents. So, you know what I'm saying? Skid mark is saying still here. Person turquoise waving. Well, that must be the icon that I can't see. But thanks for joining and thanks for that super chat, dude. Whatever the super sticker. Let's go see what it is. I guess it's on the other side. So let's go. Oh, it has to be on the other side. We got demonetized. Got demonetized. YouTube is being. They have a procedure for getting remonetized, and I'm not saying I don't want to do the procedure, but I don't want to do the fucking procedure. It's weird. So thanks for the flying avocado. That's pretty neat. I can't tell if this is a flying avocado. It's also possible that this is an avocado who's at that giant fan in Las Vegas that blows you up into the air as if you were skydiving. Either way, pretty cool. Could also be an avocado who has a wingsuit on and has got a cape on, but also a wingsuit. I've never seen an avocado with a wingsuit, so I'm not sure if that's what's happening here, but I definitely appreciate the 10 lira or whatever that is. Some kind of money from another country. Hopefully it's a country's money that has an AK-47 on it. It would be cool. I appreciate that. Thank you. Not being monetized is like hundreds of bucks, a couple of $100 that I got to go figure out how to make on a couple $100 somewhere now. Let's see. So now we've got Krabby Turtle posting about John Lott speaking at the General Assembly of Maryland to oppose SB 1. So SB, State Bill 1, comes from their governor, I believe.
Much appreciate Senator Mackey for inviting me. I'm president of the Crime Prevention Research Center. I've been chief economist for the U.S. Sentencing Commission, senior advisor for research and statistics in the U.S. Department of Justice, and I've had research and teaching positions.
Oh, snap. General General Bearing Pounds. So very cool. Thank you. GB pounds, approximately $13 in our money. That's awesome. So that means your money's worth more than our money. So that's even cooler. So what is this? It's a pound. I thought you're not allowed to use pounds no more. I thought you have to use euros. So right on. Thank you for sending me pounds instead of dumbass euros. And not for sending me some kind of metric money. Thanks for sending me a real number of money, a baker's dozen of money. That's super cool. Way better than a $10 metric money situation. So that's pretty cool.
At Yale, Stanford, the Wharton Business School, and the University of Chicago. Gun-free zones are a magnet for criminals and mass public shooters. The people who obey these laws are law-abiding citizens. Criminals explicitly pick those areas where, for those attacks, to take advantage of the fact that their victims will be disarmed.
The sad part is that he literally says the same thing each time, that all you have to do is read their manifestos, because literally all you got to do is read their stuff, that they're literally doing the acts to make light of their weird positions. And if you read their weird positions, they explain why they're doing the acts where they do them, yet they ignore that in the coverage of the acts while they go after the rights and the property, the rights to possess, and then the property itself. It's frustrating. And you can get upset about this situation, but that's like getting upset, about a lot of situations. You can also do something to change it. Best way to get to change it is to create awareness, and we're seeing that as we see the fight change. It is not because the other side is getting better. This fight is changing because we have steadily eliminated their talking points and their fear positions. There's going to be blood in the streets if you have constitutional carry. Well, that's not going to happening. So what are they going to? So they're changing. They're seeing that firearms education is changing people's minds about their tyranny. So they've taken over gun safety. So we can see from their actions, we can see from their tactics how we're winning. So this is frustrating, but it's good to see that he was able to show up. And that, I'm going to take this another way. If you take a look at John Lott over the years, man, he has definitely gotten better, more comfortable, more able. Definitely a champion on our side. You may not agree with everything he says, because there's definitely people that take issue with the ways he says things, and also some of the stats that he relies on, or the studies that he uses, because it's not the only studies that are out there, and he isn't infallible. But his progress is easy to see. It's definitely awesome. Mary Field's one of my favorites, Stagecoach Mary. So she was I guess the first, she was a star route carrier, which meant she worked as an independent contractor for the post office. And I think she was the first African-American woman, but I think she might have also been a different first, and as a carrier for a star route. And then she protected the mail from thieves with that giant ass rifle. And then if I remember right, trying to remember the life of Mary, and if she was the one I'm thinking of who also had interesting and impressive end of her life too. But I think I might be conflating two ladies. But anyway, she's super cool. Stagecoach Mary, one of our Second Amendment activists from back in the olden days. And anybody can be a Second Amendment activist when it's easy. It's super hard to be a Second Amendment activist when everybody, literally the whole world's going against you for every little thing, every single thing. Then maybe that's just a perception, because then you got Stagecoach Mary doing whatever she wants. All right, so then women in arms, you don't get to pick the day you need your gun. Someone else will pick that day, and they will only tell you at the last minute. So very, very, is that Zen? I don't know if the Zen is the right word, but it's very advice that's very much like you get from Asada Yub. And there's a reason for that, because it's from Tom Gibbons. You don't get to pick the day you need your gun. Someone else will pick that day, and they will only tell you at the last moment. And that's the kind of advice you get from Rangemaster. So very good long-time advice. Miss T is out there with the tea. What's up with that? Got some kind of tea drink you got over there? And then we got DJ. Welcome. Well, the DJ's already been out there. Let's see. So then we got Alexander, friend over at Arizona Firearms Auctions, or Pot of Gold. I guess he's a big fan of the Set Me, so they took a bunch of pictures of Set Me. But I guess it's his 2-year work anniversary over there. Cool dude and cool place. Can't imagine working over there, because I'd be doing videos all the time. Let's see, what do we got here? We got Diana Mueller testifying before the Florida House on concealed carry. So DC Project, cop for 23 years. Cops often go to court, so they get used to speaking precisely. And sometimes that can be a negative. Sometimes talking too precisely can make you robotic and less effective. In this case, Again, think of the progression of your awareness of Diana Mueller and listen to this testimonial to the Florida House Constitutional Rights Rule of Law and Government Subcommittee talking about constitutional carry in Florida.
Thank you, Chairman Roach, Ranking Member Joseph, and Vice Chairman Barnaby. My name is Diana Mueller. I'm a retired police officer. I'm a professional competitive shooter, and I'm the founder of the DC Project Women for Gun Rights. The DC Project is a nationwide, nonpartisan group of women dedicated to safeguarding the Second Amendment. We believe that education is the key to firearm safety and violence prevention. On behalf of the DC Project Women of Florida, I want to thank you for your work on this important piece of legislation that makes it easier for women and men to have access to the best tool to protect themselves and their families. We all want the same thing. Who in here wants to be safe? Raise your hands. Raise your hand if you want to be safe. Do you want to be safe?
Ma'am,
you
need to address the committee, not the audience, please.
Sorry, apologies. I want to be safe. I don't want to feel safe. And my firearm allows me to be safe, especially, sir, in church, especially in my grocery store, especially in a convenience store. I want to be safe in those places. Let me tell you about our Florida State Director, Shirley Wattrell. She was supposed to be here, but she got injured in an accident last week and she's unable to attend. She wasn't a gun owner until later in life, after she experienced a violent encounter with someone who claimed to love her. When she tried to break it off, he kidnapped her, beat her, and terrorized her for over 15 hours. She thought she was going to die. She made it out, only to continue to live in fear.
30 seconds remaining.
She got a restraining order, moved to a gated community, made him furious, and he vowed to kill her. She got a firearm because she knew how vulnerable she was. She started training and turned into a different person with the confidence to live. Thank you for this bill. It's going to make it easier for people to protect themselves. And in closing, I would like to respectfully request the committee to consider open carry. As a woman, I'm smaller, I'm less framed, and it's difficult for me to always carry concealed. Thank you for your time and your leadership on this issue.
Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Thank you, Chairman Roach, Ranking Member Joseph, and Vice Chair.
So what do you feel? What do you think about that one? You could have a show where you looked at this stuff and had a panel and you just listened to 2 or 3 of these kind of posts and went around the panel and said, what do you think about that? What do you got to add to that? What would you have done differently? Who would you send that to? That kind of thing. All right, so next up is a concealed carry seminar. This is happening in San Diego, February 28th of this month, of this year. It's a 1-hour presentation. How to get your concealed weapons permit in San Diego County. So this is an organization that's not even a state level. This is a region, a Southern California level organization, a county level organization, literally, that is posting I would call it a patriotic, without disgracing the flag, a firearms thing that shows some responsibility without going too nuts with fear or craziness in any direction. It's pretty middle of the road, and offering a 1-hour introduction on how to get your permit is getting more people on the road to getting their permit, getting people together, getting people to get together in real life. That's grassroots, and it's not a rally, it's not a gun show, but it could be, it could get people introduced to others and meeting people and getting out and doing stuff with firearms as the goal. One of the most productive organizations out there, the Gun Owners Radio. All right, so now you got gun policy. This is gun owners, or was this gun firearms policy coalition? So yesterday we filed an amended complaint in our case, Mock versus Garland, challenging the ATF's pistol brace final rule. It's now even stronger than it was before. You can read the full complaint. So, Firearms Policy Coalition already has one of the 3 lawsuits against the pistol brace.
29th and 30th in Atlanta, Georgia.
So Philip Smith from NAGA is talking to the guy from SHOT Show TV, I guess, working for NSSF, and they're explaining the first annual convention that'll happen July 28th through 30th in Georgia. Gabby talking about dry firing with their eyes closed. So I don't know how many people do things for muscle memory. So here's an Allen Anchor thing. I have the turtle one. I have this 80s one, and I got this one. I do not have these other 3, though. We'll quickly go over to this. I forgot I had that blanket on. I have now moved my collection completely over to these welcome mats. See this puppy? That's the scale. So you can see I have that one, and I have that one, and I have that one, but I don't have the little mini one, I don't think, and I don't have the other one for dang sure. And I also don't have the other one. So, but this is most of my other ones. See, I've got a couple of special editions in there. My favorites there. Other favorite there, the Ranger Eye version of the Liberty Bell. Another favorite. I don't think mine glows. I don't think I got a glow one ever. This one's pretty good. It took me a while to figure out what that one was. I like it. It's also a very good one. And then the ray guns. Very few people have the ray guns. I don't think they only did one run of those. And then this one, it turns out I had jammed in there with this one, and it rubbed off, and it looks like he's pooping some orange stuff now. So yeah, these $1.25 patch panels. I've got a stack of them that are as big as 5 boxes you might use for moving. I'm gonna go put this back. While I put this back, I'm gonna run a commercial. Nobody wants to look at this puppy. I'm gonna run a commercial for a little thing we got going on where we're trying to buy a robot off of Allen Anchored. Did you know it used to be called Owls and Anchors, both of them plural, but it turns out that was the name of a robot rugby team. And they were sued and had to change it to just the singular Owl and Anchor. It's a whole big thing. They probably don't like to talk about it. Oh, all right. Well, I was actually trying something a little bit different. Whoop, what, oop, 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 oop. What part didn't we get? You didn't get this coming back? I probably muted from this. So this is trying to find something that drops down into your engine. You put on a pair of gloves, you drop a magnet into your finger tip, and then poke around down there until you find it. You're welcome. That's why the internet's so good. I was saying that. Right. Then saying how Clover's got 22 podcasts coming up. Some people I don't know. I don't know who this is. Walk Talk America. I think that's going to be Jake. Then he's got Matt from Meet the Pressers. He's got a U.S. Clay Target League. I don't know what that is. It might be the thing from Texas, though. A Great Start Shooting School. So he's going to have Brooke Cheney on March 15th. And then the next day, the very next day, he's got Riding Shotgun with Charlie on. A couple of days later, Tony Simon. And then Women Who Carry. I don't know who that is. Let's see. He'll have Toby from Cape Gunworks on the 6th of April. Texas Gun Owners Association. Right to Bear, Gabby Franco, and then Gear Report. So lots of interesting stuff happening. There's also a bunch of manufacturers, EAA, Anderson Manufacturing, Berg, BRG, USA. There was another one, Bursa. And I don't know what Infinite Defense might be. I'm not sure what that is. So Jera posted this one. I don't judge men who don't know about guns. I judge men who don't know about guns who then try to tell me I can't have one because the greater good. So I thought that was pretty good. This is a meme from The Office where the fat dude was carrying around some chili in his giant pot and he fell over. So it says heading to the Federal Register. And then here's Firearms Policy Coalition throwing a lawsuit at him. And they spilled their pistol brace all over the floor. Hopefully that's exactly what happens. We got Tony hanging out at the SHOT Show TV also during SHOT Show. For some reason, they threw that guy doing his thing. All right. So it looks like Gunbroker. I feel like I've done all of these already, so I probably did do all these on some show one time. But Gunbroker posts their top selling products, and this year, number 5 was the North American Arms revolver. I'm assuming that means all of them, but who cares? Because that's pretty cool. So the first one, Python. How interesting is that? Second one, Judge. So how can the Python be the top-selling revolver and then a Judge? Then the Heritage Arms Rough Rider. And then a Smith & Wesson 686. Then the North American Arms mini revolvers. Then the Taurus 856. I don't even know what that is. A Colt Anaconda. Makes no sense. Then a Smith & Wesson 629. And then a Ruger LCR. And then the Ruger Wrangler. So crazy, crazy, crazy list. Could somebody have a show just about that list? Yes. Why don't they? I don't know. Why not? Why don't they do have a show about that? That could be a cool bracket. It could be a cool bracket. This is never. Other shows are scared to do stuff like this. I'm not scared to do stuff like this. So we're going over to the channel where I can do stuff on, the main channel. Thanks again to Skidmark for the super chat. We have 20 votes on the do you need all the equipment to start a small business? Of course not. So thanks for the votes on that. We're starting a new poll. All right. The new poll is favorite revolver. Right. And that's going to be your Colt, Python, your terrorist, I believe is how it's pronounced. Terrorist, judge. Maybe it's pronounced Taurus. I'm not sure. And then Smith and Wesson. We'll go with Smith and Wesson. 686. Or North America. Wait, what was I missing? Oh, Heritage Arms. So we'll get rid of that Smith. We'll put it here, and then we'll put in a Heritage. I'm just going to put Heritage. Can I get the whole thing in here? Oh, yeah, I can. I can put the whole thing in here. So now the whole thing is. All right, so now there you go. The Colt Python, the Taurus Judge, the Heritage Arms Rough Rider, or the Smith & Wesson 686. And go ahead and vote for one of them. Once we get a number of votes, we'll end the bidding, and then we'll... Oh, there's John out there. Good evening. Then we'll end the voting, and we'll go to the next bracket. Ways to empower. So Carrie Ann and Susan and another lady and somebody else and some dude in a coat. Massachusetts legislature is conducting a listening tour concerning the state's gun laws. A listening tour concerning the state's gun laws, exploring the crossroads of firearms and suicide. We had 4 ladies of the DC Project attend. So people are like, when, the president said that assault weapons. Ask those people how long the president's speech was. Let's find out. How long was the State of the Union? Oh, probably I should have put in 2023, huh? How long was the State of the Union and blah, blah, blah. So you can go find out. This is what writers do. They write all this stuff down. Modern times, let's see. Article defined. Franklin, modern times, the shortest address, 29 minutes. Come on, are you going to tell us? Bush, 1 hour and 20 minutes. Wow. So the longest is 120 and the shortest is 30. So far is keeping an average of just over an hour. So are you going to tell us? Wow, that was horrible. So about an hour of speech. How long was the State of the Union? This is UK telling us. So good evening, Good Britain. Wait, good Great Britain? It's Good Britain. How about Good Britain? You're going to get offended if I call it Good Britain? How about you come over here and punch our state in the punch our country in the face? I've been watching a lot of Maddox, and they punch everybody in the face. I'm not even kidding. They punch people in the face constantly, and they talk about punching people in the face. It's epic. Thanks again to Foss for hooking me up with Maddox from 67 to 71. It's one of my favorite shows ever now. All right, so Biden's speech on Tuesday night clocked in at 1 hour and 12 minutes and 40 seconds, making it the 8th longest State of the Union in the last 60 years. Did you hear that? 1 hour and 12 minutes, right? How about somebody, do you think there's something out there that gives us how long the State of the Union about guns? State of the Union is off on guns. So AP already knows that what he said was incorrect. But literally the dude spoke for a very long time and guns came up for like moments. He had 107, allegedly, he had 117 organizations give him a bullet point list of things that they wanted him to talk about in the State of the Union. And what did he talk about? For an hour and 20 minutes, he talked about other things. It was actually not a bad speech if you listen to it. He was completely not the person who many people would suggest he is. You listen to that thing, he's speaking clearly the whole time for most of it, and there's very few things. They're like messes up, very few mess ups or whatever. He might be incorrect, but he's not. It's just a regular old speech, is what I'm getting at. And then the guns, barely talks about them, barely says anything. You listen to most stuff that's out there, and it'll complain that, oh, he's talking about guns in the speech. No, they should be talking about how little he talked about guns, in spite of the fact that 117 organizations literally gave him marching orders. And instead of even talking about any of that, he barely even talked about it. And why? Because we're winning. And why are we winning? Because Rebecca and Marianne. So, and whoever that other lady is standing there, and then the fourth lady, who I don't know who she is either. But they are going to listen to, or going to attend, a listening session, a listening tour in Massachusetts. That's super interesting. So I'd like to definitely know more about that. They have a TV show called Sisters in Arms, a firearm story, and I'm sure that they'll talk about it on that. But it looks like something that not everybody would attend. And in this case, we had representatives from our side there who are also representing the full gun community. Pretty awesome. That was in Massachusetts. This is super cool. So this is some sort of a situation where you got to run plastic underneath all them hoops, probably to keep robots or some kind of drone robots from seeing what you got under that dirt or whatever. So how are you going to do this? You're going to crawl underneath there on your hands and knees? You're going to send some old lady down underneath all them things because she's the only one that fits? No. You're going to attach it to a little dog, a beagle is what it looks like. And you're going to call that dog down to run at you. Now that dog is getting to run around for free and accomplishing a bunch of work for everybody. That's nature, the way nature intended for plastic to be run out over a strip of dirt to keep the robots from seeing what's underneath of there. Pretty neat. So that's the kind of cool stuff you see on the internet if you look around. Rapid Fire Radio had a blog. What? They're writing stuff down. Yeah. About the guns you can own in Massachusetts. How bullshit is it that they have to make a how-to guide to figure out how bullshit the laws are to figure out what guns you can own? It should be a guide like, don't buy 9mm, buy decent calibers, and that's about it. Buy a revolver, and then there you go. Instead, it's got to be like, what's on the registry, or like, what's legal? We still got more. Hold on. So come and talk it. Michael Cargill from Central Texas Gunworks does a radio show every Saturday afternoon. Unfortunately, at the exact same time as the Amanda Suffolk and her brother Rob do the Eye on the Target radio. But if you want to watch both, it's worth watching. This week they had FRAC on, the Firearms Regulation Accountability Commission. I'm saying it wrong. I forget what FRAC is. It's too new. But FRAC is an organization of gun companies, I think, industry. I'm not sure, but let's figure it out. Let's go figure it out. Anyway, FRAC, SB, and B&T, and the person who's affected and 25 states attorney general sue the ATF, the country's attorney general, and Director Diddle-Diddle-Burger. And come and talk it. Well, Michael and the crew had FRAC on this weekend on Sunday. So this was letting people know that they filed the lawsuit. Now, that's not all the times you hear people go, oh, I'm filing a lawsuit. But when Second Amendment Foundation does it, you go, oh, really? Because they've won lawsuits. When Firearms Policy Coalition does it, you go, oh, really? Because they're kicking butt with that direction too, right? Cutting new ground. When Come and Talk It says it, when Michael Cargill says it, you go, oh, the guy who got a a decent what's it called, from the Fifth Circuit Court on the bump stocks. That Michael Cargo? Yep, same guy. So good to see that he's now in the habit of lawsuits. We got 7 votes. If we can get, well, I think Smith & Wesson 686 is going to win. So let's go figure out what frack is. I have to put frack guns, maybe. Firearms Regulatory Accountability Coalition. And we'll go figure out what that means as we add it to Minuteman University here in a second. After I jump out of here and jump back to here and then end this poll and start another poll, if I had interns, they'd have to do all this and I could just keep talking. So if you want to not have all this talking and have the interns do stuff, this puppy won't do it. He refuses to do it. But if you want to have us have interns and paid co-hosts, consider being a Patreon. Down at the bottom of the screen, it's happening right here. It says, our Patreons make it possible for us to spend time on projects like these. Thank you. And then this is the link to the Patreon. So that's how you subscribe. Essentially, throw us a cup of coffee each month. It's $5 a month, a cup of coffee, right? Cup of coffee at a fancy place, right? It's $5. What do we do with that? Well, Patreon takes like less than $1, and we take the rest of that $4, and along with hundreds, hopefully hundreds, right now 134 other people, we use that to pay a bunch of bills, and that allows us to do projects like this without trying to sell you something the whole damn time, or get you all worried about something so that you have to tune in tomorrow. All right, so the next things are going to be the North American Arms Mini Revolver. I'm going to abbreviate that as NAA Mini. And then you've got your Terrorus 856. I don't know which one that is. Then we got your Colts, but this time it's your Anaconda. Anaconda. I spelled that wrong. And the internet knows how to spell it. And then a Smith & Wesson again. Look at that. A Smith & Wesson 629. So now you had an opportunity to, oh man, I forgot to put a question, but you get it. You had an opportunity to vote before, you get an opportunity to vote again. This time for the NAA Mini, the Tarurus 856, the Colt Anaconda, or the Smith & Wesson 629. All right, we'll wait till we get a bunch of votes over there, and then we'll do the last one, which will be a mini bracket, tiny mini bracket, and then the last one will be those last 3. Where are we at with this whole thing? Well, we got a ton of them to go. We already showed the dog wing in the plastic. Super awesome. Let's see. Then we got the Massachusetts list. We've got the Come and Talk It. Next, you got Gabby Franco being awesome. Embrace the difficult yet highly rewarding journey in life. Most of you know me for my success. However, without getting up after the many times I failed, you would have never known me. Often, people think about their successes as if they are solely theirs. I do not. I have so many people to thank for everything I have achieved, like my parents, family, my husband, friends, coaches, sponsors, and many others who, with their advice, encouragement, and support, helped me to be who I am today. So if today is not your day, remember that you are not alone. You just need to ask for help from 1,000 people if necessary. Never give up on yourself. Life is hard, and be thankful that it's hard. It teaches you to be stronger and wiser. Happy Friday. So that's pretty good. Then you got this, which is pretty awesome. This is javelina, which are our desert peccaries. People call them hams or pigs, but they're not. They are more related to a rat than a pig. And this is when somebody had an enduro out there, and this pig came up and bit its tire and ain't letting go. So I just figured I'd post that in case people think that we have boars out here. We don't have wild pig. We have javelina. They're different. And that's what Bit used to run around. He used to run around having to survive from those. I don't think there's anything to play here. Yeah, it's just copyrighted music. So I'll just try to play this so that you can see it. I don't know if you can see this. Is there a way for me to make this bigger? Oh, you know what it might be? Zooming out. Sometimes making it smaller somehow makes it bigger. So essentially, if you're going to use siphon some water out of a tank that's above a smaller tank that you're going to siphon it into, instead of sucking on it like a dumbass, consider blowing on it and then starting with some pressure in the upper tank, starting the flow, and then thus your siphon in the smaller tank without having to inhale a bunch of water like a dumbass. So that doesn't get mentioned enough because not enough people have had to do that probably. But that's a handy tip if you've got to move water from one tank to another tank.
Incredible investigation took place in Houston, Texas last week by the Texas Department of Public Safety's Methamphetamine Initiative Group, along with the Houston Police Department, where they took down the first fentanyl lab in the United States, or correction, in Texas, and one of the first in this country. But what they found is pretty interesting because it really shows to the totality of what law enforcement is dealing with right now. 44 pounds of marijuana, 17 pounds of chemical precursors. Guys, by the way, that 17 pounds of chemical precursors for fentanyl came directly from China. Over a kilogram of counterfeit Xanax pills, a lot of those pills responsible for what we see with the overdose poisonings throughout the United States, 2 kilos of cocaine, 3 pistols, and 1 rifle, including 1 pound of methamphetamine. Now, here's why this is important, because this is a major change and a major tripwire in seeing fentanyl labs in the United States and those chemical precursors coming directly from China. The Texas Department of Public Safety year-to-date statewide has seized enough fentanyl to kill 360 million Americans. Now, why is this important? Because that's one law enforcement agency of 18,000 across this country. And if you look at some of these photographs from the lab itself, I want you to look at what these law enforcement officers have to wear. If you notice, they're wearing complete hazardous material suits. We call them SCBA, self-contained breathing apparatus. This is a very specialized unit, one of the only in the state of Texas. But it goes to show you the level of what law enforcement is having to go through with some of these labs that they deal with. And here's the important point about this. When we talk about 17 pounds of chemical precursors, in the production of these labs, when you think about a couple of ounces in a jar, on average, just to dispose of that is between $2,500 and $5,000. So it shows you the totality of what law enforcement is having to expense just to fix these labs, but also what they're dealing with. Great work by law enforcement. Back to you.
Jason Jones.
I don't know why it costs that much to burn a pound of fentanyl or whatever. Does burning fentanyl kill people? All right, next up is... Hold on, I need to drink some more of this now room temperature coffee. Where are we at with the poll? 3 votes. Come on. We need to up that number. So over on the main channel, you can vote in the poll. There's way more people than that listening. So if you're over on the other channel, super chat. And if you're on the other channel, vote in the poll. Or feel free to jump back and forth and do both. All right, so the next one is from here in Arizona. Shannon Watts, the lady who worked at Monsanto until the 14th richest person on the planet, hired her away from Monsanto to act like she created an organization at a grassroots level called Mom's Demand. And years later, she's about to retire from that position because of her ineffectiveness. And the 14th richest person on the planet has decided that the lady who was able to be an effective PR person for Monsanto, the people who did Roundup, that she hasn't been effective, and that the mom's demand hasn't proven worth their while financially or in reality. So as she's leaving, Shannon Watts, founder of Mom's Demand, gave a little shout out to one of our Arizona delegates. And yes, our children are assets. They are incredibly valuable. Here's the truth. Our schools, communities, and country would be safer with young people who know firearm safety. Even if you choose to never own a firearm, you will likely encounter one at some point in your life. Know how to safely and responsibly conduct yourself. It is so important to have proper understanding, education, and respect for tools. And then that was posted by the DC Project. The post here says, it's a post by Shannon Watts, and it says, an Arizona gun lobbyist wearing an AR-15 shirt refers to kids as assets while testifying in favor of an NRA-backed bill to require mandatory gun safety training in public schools. Meanwhile, the NRA opposes mandatory safety training for gun owners.
State your name for the record.
Thank you. My name is Cynthia Ladd, and Mr. Chairman, members, I appreciate this opportunity to talk to you. I am a firearms instructor. I'm also with Armed Women of America, as well as the state director for Gun Owners of America. I want to talk to you about support for this bill. First of all, I want to talk about children, school. We've had a couple of speakers discuss how vulnerable our beautiful assets are.
State your name for the record.
Thank you.
So that's I guess her name is Sin Ladd. I'm not used to saying her name, so I haven't heard it said, but Sin Ladd. And yeah, pretty cool. Well, it's interesting to see that we have advocates who are able to show up and speak on behalf of us and our rights. And it's interesting to see that Shan calls it an AR-15 shirt, knowing that most people aren't going to bother to look, or if they do, they won't roll their eyes and go, oh, I guess technically it's a row of AR-15s that are almost icons, almost a background pattern, essentially, almost just there to indicate guns, where the real message is educate over legislate. So while there's a real message there in the iconography, whatever that word is, of the guns is there just so that you know the tone or the reason why they have this message. They're hardly there to be in your face. Now, I'm sure they chose AR-15s over revolvers because they were trying to indicate that, AR-15s are normal and that even ladies are allowed and often enjoy an AR-15 over some clunky wooden and steel gun that their grandfathers would have used in World War II, or actually World War I, and then also World War II. That instead they'd rather have something that maybe their fathers or maybe their grandfathers would have used in Vietnam, something made out of aluminum and polymer, some kind of a heavy plastic or a heavy duty plastic that's both more easier to manipulate and hold on to, more ergonomic for a normal sized person instead of a giant muscle bound 18-year-old volunteer who's interested and able to go to war, but instead a firearm that's useful for anyone from a small framed person to a larger framed person with adjustable sliding stocks. And that's one of the characteristics of the gun that are persecuted as evil. So it's great to see that the DC Project uses the AR-15 and isn't afraid to, but it's hardly something that's in your face or brandished to elicit any kind of emotional response. It's literally just there so that they can stand their ground and say, yes, we do appreciate and stand for the AR-15, and we're not going to be bullied. All right, well, so with that, we got the next one from Gun Policy, Firearms Policy Coalition. I guess the 80s is still cool to be reminiscent of. It's frustrating for those of us who remember the actual 80s. We're much more boring than this. There was not this much neon. Miami Vice had neon, but the rest of the country really didn't. But permitless carry bill HB 534 or 543. So this is a permitless carry bill 543 in Florida is on the move. And, you know, again, the organizations break down like this. FPC, Firearms Policy Coalition, makes something like $1 million a year. Gun Owners America, more like $10 million a year. Second Amendment Foundation, something like 10 million, 11 million, a little bit more if you count the Citizens Committee for the Right to Keep the Citizens Committee for the Right to Keep and Bear Arms, yeah, CCKRB or whatever. So if you count both of those together, it's a little bit more than GOA, but it's because they do why can't I think of the gun rights policy conference each year, which costs like $1 million plus. So then you get the organization in Colorado that nobody talks about making $16 million a year. And then you get the NRA at $245 million a year doing all the heavy lifting, all the work, and of course, getting the brunt of everybody's bullshit. So you got the $16 million sitting in the shadow doing nothing, taking in $16 million, spending the most on their own advertising. Then you've got the hardworking Second Amendment Foundation since 1970s, bringing people together, since 80s, I forget when they started, bringing people together at the Gun Rights Policy Conference and creating entities out all over the time. Like all the time that they've been bringing lawsuits, what people don't talk about with the Second Amendment Foundation is their incubating. They've created lots and lots of organizations, including some of the organizations that exist today. And then, of course, Gun Owners America out there kicking butt, like in a parallel, but different way. Started in California and still kicking ass, right? And then you got Gun Owners America, or Gun Firearms Policy Coalition. A bunch of lawyers started out as rights, started, focusing on gun owners' rights. So hard to fault them for not doing everything when they're doing so much with relatively little. So one of the people that is supporting the Arizona rally, I started following them because they're supporting the Arizona rally, found an alternative use for a brace to hold a soda. Interesting. I wonder if that's illegal. They didn't reply, so I'm not sure if they thought that was funny or not. All right, so I'm going to take another drink here, and then we'll see what Sin Lad says. Am I saying that right? Is there a better way to say that? Am I saying like a dingus? I feel like I'm saying it like a dingus. I don't know how to say her name. The lady who's the Arizona representative for the Armed Women of America, as well as DC Project, as well as it sounds like our state GOA director, says on her Instagram, "Thank you, Shannon Watts, for drawing attention to HB 2332 in Arizona. I respect your passion and your desire to protect our children just as I do. I would like to clarify a few things from your tweet. HB 2332 would provide 1 hour of firearm safety training for grades 6 through 12 in all public, private, and charter schools. This is an opt-in program that parents would decide if their children would attend. The trainers are volunteers who have demonstrated through their firearms training and certifications to have the necessary skill set to communicate appropriately with students of this age group. The goal of HB 2332 is to equip young people with the knowledge and skills to discern their options if or when they are exposed to a firearm without an adult present. This could happen at school, at home, a public place, etc. HB 2332 is not an NRA endorsed bill or NRA training program. Students are not required to attend. Teachers will not be providing the training. No firearms or ammunition are part of the training. HB 2332 passed the House 8-7. Next step is the Senate. Please direct message me if you'd like to have a one-on-one conversation. Thank you, Cynthia Ladd. Now I don't feel like a dingus because she has a regular name. Okay, now I got it. Cynthia Ladd. Right on. So that is our DC project. I think she's the DC project rep now. I think Cheryl is just the state rep, or maybe it's the other way around. I don't know. But she's definitely a DC project member, Armed Women of America member, and the GOA rep for Arizona. So well done, Cynthia, and taking it right to Shan Shan in a very respectful way. Mom at Arms will take it to Shan Shan by kicking her in the nuts, the lady nuts. But Cynthia's, offering an olive branch and an awareness what the DC project truly is, educating, and letting her know in no uncertain terms that she's conflating the NRA with all gun owners, and that's not just ignorant, but intentionally, creating a rift and an unawareness, which is what they depend on. So whenever somebody gets dire and when somebody's going to talk about the president's 1 hour and 20-minute speech and the moments he spent talking about guns, and they're going to keep telling you that same little thing and about how the president's so worried about guns instead of telling you, the real deal, that instead of the 117 people telling him what he should do during the State of the Union, what he didn't do, this is why. Because of ladies like Cynthia, Cheryl, and the other ladies in the DC project. Kicking the ass of the antis. They're also leading the way. We didn't ever have ladies like this to be role models for the next. So the next who are sitting around using the internet on their phones right now and getting bored of playing whatever stupid ass video games that their older brothers and sisters or mom and dads play because those are boring and stupid, and they're watching what little effect they've got in the long term from playing a video game or mastering a video game. They're thinking, what can I do? Well, look at these ladies, right? These are ladies that are role modeling for the next generation. It's pretty neat to see it. There's seeds, there's seedlings, and whatever. This is what you're watching right now. DJ singing about eating bread over there. So we have other things that are happening in Arizona. So 2A rally is letting people know that the House Bill 2178 requires doctors and somebody else's, people from Pennsylvania, I think, and nurses who practice being a nurse to lecture parents on firearm safety and provide governor-prepared pamphlets. And our governor hates guns. Rally at the Arizona State Capitol now and tell them no way. So we have a rally this weekend. Tony Simon's going to be there. A bunch of other people are going to show up to hear Tony say his stuff. It's going to be pretty cool. We know this. Let's see. What is this? They are publicly admitting that Minnesota's proposed firearms transfer eligibility bill, HF, I don't know what that is, House something 14, is not designed to stop crime, only to impede the rights of peaceable people. Urge your reps to reject this madness at FPC action. Okay, whatever. So this is Firearms Policy Coalition talking about Minnesota. So we don't get much focus on Minnesota except from the Minnesota group who we follow, and they're able to do what they're able to do. They've been going live lately though to explain what's going on up there. But then we also talked about the it was Triggerology posted the thing from California where the California committee, I think it was a local committee, LA or something, or whatever that county is, was saying, yeah, we're going to do, we interpret our role as a committee to use whatever tools available to us to restrict the people's access to firearms. And you know what? In a free country, they can have that dumbass idea, right? They can't, in what's the word, like do anything about it, but they can have that idea until they change the laws. That's not their ability or whatever, but they're going to probably work towards that. And if they say it, you know, then at least they're just saying it. So that's the same kind of concept as here, except that this is Minnesota. But he's saying, we know this is not going to prevent every transfer of an illegal gun. What we do know is this is an expectation we have of gun owners. So he's just essentially saying it differently, but he's saying the same thing, that, hey, you know what? We have the ability to fuck with people, and we know that gun or the law abiding are going to abide, right? The law abiding are gonna abide. That should be a t-shirt. And that's what they're banking on, and that's why they are able to hork people's business. So let them hork your business, I guess. Anyway, and then it's got this one meme. I don't know what that's from, but that dude's been in a lot of movies. Does anybody know what movie that thing is from? So here's a range in Illinois that, what's the ATF brace ban? Oh, it says, what's the ATF brace ban? And then it says, answer. The ATF brace ban is a ban on all stabilizing braces attached to rifles with a barrel length less than 16 inches. The final rule is effective on January 31st, 2023. The compliance date is 120 days from the date of publication, which is May 31st. So it's essentially answering it to say the ban is a ban on all braces attached to rifles with a barrel length less than 16 inches. What an interesting way to describe it. Then it says, the next question, it says, I noticed that you are listed as a plaintiff in the second case filed by Tom, whoever. Now that the temporary restraining order is in force, will you sell or transfer AR-15s to the plaintiffs listed in the first case? If yes, how do I prove to you that I was listed in the first case? So this is one of the shops, I guess, that was involved in the resistance to the assault weapons ban in Illinois. Did I mention that this is a shooting range in Illinois? It's outside of Chicago area. And then it says, yes, we will be selling to people listed on both cases where the temporary restraining orders were granted. We have a list of all the plaintiffs, and hopefully, they'll have a complete list. And then it says, will the range be reviewing or reporting on what firearms or magazines patrons bring to the range? And then they say no. So I thought that was pretty cool. And it says, does the state already know what kind of guns a person owns because of a 4473? And then it says, nope, there's, as of now, no gun registry in Illinois. So it's just interesting to see that there's every state is a little bit different. Some of the gun shops, this case, a range, it is a gun shop too. It's a pretty nice range and gun shop. Anyhow, I've been there. I did a review of it on the 18th. I think it was an 18 on that tour, maybe 17. So, but I think it was when they first opened. And I know it was when they first opened. But I just can't remember what year it was. But it's cool to see that they are able to answer this, that they're answering it in an interesting way, in a brief way. They're not answering it in an elaborate, completely detail-rich, accurate, quote-unquote way, because they're still accurate. They're just saying it much quicker than it would be said by somebody who was going to elaborate on it. And then the fact that they got to say it. That's always something that's going to be interesting for people in states that aren't dealing with this stuff. And it sucks. So it's also documenting, the infringements, life with the infringements, let's say. All right, we got 6 votes, but it doesn't look like anything is going to win over Smith & Wesson 629. Not one vote. So what's wrong with everybody? You just hate everyone out there tonight hates anacondas. So here's the thing. A lot of times when something like this happens, because a lot of shows do polls like this, where they do a bracket within a show like this, a lot of times when this happens, in order to avoid embarrassment or shame of such a vote, the hosts of the show wouldn't even bring it up. The fact that no one voted for the Colt Anaconda. And all this time, while I'm shaming everybody, no one's coming in and voting for that Colt. So if you're listening from at home, or in the future, I should say, you could be at home. You could be somewhere else. I don't care where you're listening, but you're listening in the future. When this is a recorded video or maybe a podcast, just know that if you were here, you could have voted for the Colt Anaconda, but nobody did tonight. So the options were, again, the NAA Mini, that got 17% of the votes. The Taurus 856, that got 14% of the votes. What happened right now is the Colt Anaconda just got a vote, I guess. So it now has 14% of the votes. And that means that the Smiths and Wessons 629 just got 57% of the votes. So it just came down. It sounds like, are you allowed to change your votes? Or did somebody else come in and vote? Oh no, we got another vote. It says we got 8 votes. So now we got 2 votes for the Anaconda. I don't know what's happening, but we're ending it anyway. So see, when you Colt shame people, that's called snake shaming. You've all been snake shamed, and see how it happens? You can snake shame people into voting for Colts. Next, we'll go with, I'm going to jump back down to this post again with the links, with the list. And this is an abbreviated one. Okay, this is a much abbreviated one. You only get 2 options. So the pick is between the, it's 2 Rugers. Oh my goodness. The Ruger LCR, which is in my pocket, or a Ruger Wrangler. Right? And that is the aluminum frame 22, if I remember correctly. So go with one of those 2. Once we get to approximately 7 votes, we'll have a second stage bracket where you'll pick the winner of tonight's bracketry. Gizzard is saying, I carry a Ruger LCR quite a bit. Gizzard knows what's up. Let's see. So now we'll go to, this one's awesome. This is from Tatiana Whitlock. This one is from a quote from Maya Angelou, I guess. It says, develop enough courage so that you can stand up for yourself and then stand up for somebody else. That's pretty cool. I like that. Tatiana just had a baby, another baby. So you can think about cool gun people out there having little babies. The Ruger is winning. The Ruger is winning. Update. The Ruger is winning. All right. So now we're going to go back to this one, which is from the NRA. NRA 25 states. NRA, 25 states sue Biden ATF to stop arbitrary and unlawful pistol brace rule. National Rifle Association says new ATF rule on pistol arm braces is arbitrary and an abuse of power. So this was on Fox. Okay, America's longest standing gun rights group is suing the Biden administration to stop new federal regulations. So 25 states sue, and is NRA the one doing that? That's what I'm wondering. What the heck? Oh, I figured it out. Ow. I'm wearing a new shirt, and I think it's got some kind of something in the stitching that's itching me. All right, so then you got Gun Owners of America. We're suing the ATF with Texas. Members asked and GOA delivered. Our lawsuit against ATF has officially been filed, and we're gearing up to fight the law against or alongside Texas. So let's just take a quick look since they're essentially both saying the same thing. This is 4 days ago, and I guess I'll have to pop it out and look from the outside to see what we want to see here. And then I'm going to come back over here and go back and see what this one said. Didn't say either. So go back up and open this in a new window also. There's the 4 days ago one. And then what did this one look like? 4 days ago. And let's see if we can compare. Oh man, neither one of us. Neither one is going to give me any data. That's messed up. Oh, is it because I didn't like it maybe? Try to refresh after I liked it and see if it'll tell me. No. Interesting. Sometimes it tells you how many people have liked it. In this case, we're not seeing that information. And when you hover over it, I'm not seeing any kind of indication of how many people. So that's messed up. Sometimes I find that interesting to compare because these organizations are nowhere near the size of each other. So even though they're essentially saying the same thing about the pistol brace, the amount of the reach is just noticeably different scale. Damn, 8 votes, and we still have a tie. So that's copywriting me, but that's saying, meanwhile, in China next week, and then the Budweiser blimp is over there, and everybody in China's freaking out. I thought that was pretty funny. So I got copyrighted for that. You're welcome. So this from the 2A rally. It says, first rule of gun safety, never let the government take your guns. And then it's got some lady rack hunting. So I guess she just went out there to get some antlers and very little other things because all she's carrying around is some antlers. Or else she's using them antlers to rattle hunt. So it looks like the what is it called? I think it's NAGA New England is the Massachusetts chapter of NAGA. So it looks like they hooked up with Cape Gun Works, and it says, pleasure meeting you guys and can't wait to host our Juneteenth event. So that's what I was going to say. They planned an event to happen over at Cape Gun Works at the indoor range there, and they've got a facility there. So that's pretty cool. And that all kind of happened live. That was neat. So they had Philip Smith on the Rapid Fire Radio show one Wednesday doing the long format second hour. And Toby was saying something about how the name of the Massachusetts chapter didn't have Massachusetts in it, and it wasn't named anything like cool. Like some of them are named after people. And I don't think they're necessarily named after people that come from the town they're in or like even the area that or state they're in. They just name them after cool people in history, like Stagecoach Mary, right? Like it would be cool to be like the Stagecoach Mary Gun Club or something. But then, because theirs is just called NAGA New England. So anyway, he was kind of ripping on him like, it's cool that we got one in Massachusetts, but it doesn't have a cool name. And then they jumped on and were like, hey, what the hell? And he's like, oh, okay, no problem. So it looks like they actually hooked up. So you ever heard of Allen Anchor? Earlier in this show, we showed off an Allen Anchor patch panel. You also can get cool stuff from Allen Anchor at a massive discount and often things you can't even get. Things you can't even get regularly off the store, let's say. By grabbing stuff from their scratch and dent vault. So go check it out on their store. Sometimes people will post a link to Owl and Anchor. And if you use the coupon code Owl and Anchor, you can buy stuff from their store. I believe the way it works is every order of $35 or more includes free shipping, if that's still a thing that they got going on. So next you get Rick Ector, who's running for the NRA board. I'd like to officially announce that I'm endorsing Rick Ector for the NRA board of directors. I don't think the NRA is worth throwing away. It's not a baby, and it isn't bathwater. So when you have a giant entity that has a few bad actors, you replace the bad actors, and you do that by bringing in good people. And one of those would be Rick Ector, who's running for NRA board of directors. He's also running with Amanda Suffolk. I don't know if it'll show up on this or not, but they'll be on with Meet the Pressers and Riding Shotgun with Charlie on the 28th of February. So look forward to that. But anyway, a lot of people have been posting their support for Rick Ector. Rick does a lot of good stuff. He's been around for a long time, been an inspiration. Since this is a Monday show, my goal would be to, if I could do this for real, instead of having to kind of squeeze the time in every night as a hobby, if I could do this as a legit thing, if I was, doing this for real, Mondays would be to educate, inspire, and empower Second Amendment activists. And that's what Rick Ector does, at least for me and a bunch of other people. He was out there doing stuff at a time when there was very few others. It was Ken Blanchard, who was literally talking about Second Amendment stuff when everybody else was either talking about prepping or just merchandising. Some people were talking about training, I guess. That wasn't my realm. And some people were probably talking about competition stuff. But most of the time, people were just talking about boring stuff. And Rick was one of the people that was out there talking about Second Amendment stuff and some training and other things. So anyway, and just being cool. He's always been like super cool and been normal, right? That guns being normal. There's a lot of weird nerds out there that are into guns, and that's cool. They're allowed to be a weird nerd and be into guns, but being normal people that are cool into guns is always good. So Rick's awesome, and having him be a member of the board, it's a great idea. He's great at getting points of view across to other people. He's great at going across the middle ground and able to sit down with people and give the other position to them without a lot of connotation or baggage. So he'd be great for that. Thanks for posting links, DJ. Not just in our chat, but whenever you're out there doing that, it takes a lot of effort. He's doing that on a telephone, and often he's doing it without the aid of a puppy. He doesn't even have a puppy around. I have a puppy right here. If something happens, I can go to this puppy and wiggle it and go, oh my goodness, right? DJ can't do that. He doesn't have a puppy around to do that. So appreciate you doing that. Appreciate it. Let's see. Tony out there again. The Second Amendment has intentionally been manipulated into a partisan issue. America's citizens, regardless of political party, don't want mass shootings, violent crimes, or murders. Manipulating forces in media and government push divisiveness, and they have decades of experience. That's a great post. I'm thinking that's a Twitter. I think what he does is he's taking his Twitter posts and then he's rehashing them into Instagram posts. Because then he says, how do we defeat divisiveness that those in power need to create to remain in power? Honest conversations with people all along the political landscape is what happens at the second is for everyone diversity shoots. This is what I've learned. First, establish what we have in common. Second, what are our preconceived ideas? Third, discussions of viewpoints and misperceptions. Fourth, facts are stated, lies and propaganda exposed. Look at how the puppy gets when you expose propaganda. He wags his tail and he's happy. Fifth, they shoot guns. Sixth, they eat something. That's a pretty good idea. Seventh, education. Eighth is fun. Ninth, let's do it again. 10th, never let outside forces stop honest conversation between citizens. There's only one strict rule. We only discuss the Second Amendment, firearms, and related topics. Very cool. So Tony makes great points. He does it effortlessly because he does it so often and so well. It makes it look easy. I don't know what he's doing. Maybe he drives a lot. I don't know. Like I say, I don't know if these come from conversations he has with people. Maybe he's just working them off of people. I don't know. Maybe he's just working it. I'll ask him sometime. All right, let's see. We got Minnesota. Ever heard of it? It's a state full of lakes. It's up on top of Wisconsin. It keeps the cheese from spilling up into Canada, and it keeps the syrup from coming down into the United States. They serve a purpose. It also stops all the water from leaking over into the Dakotas. So, it serves a purpose, but they also have a lot of mosquitoes, and they say a lot because they're so close to Canada. So Minnesota has this firearms transfer eligibility bill. And like I say, the only people paying attention to it are firearms policy and Minnesota. The registry alone is enough to send this one into the trash heap. They're asking Minnesota residents to let their representatives to vote no. Tim S. is taking off. Good evening. Have a good night. It's pretty late. We're up past 2 hours at this point. This is too long for a show, but this would just be getting started, assuming we were fully funded. So if you know somebody would like to help fund the show, let them know. We'll accept funding. The best way to do it is to head over to Patreon and subscribe to our show, subscribe to our projects. You can earmark it. This is for Daily Gun Show. Let us know. So this is from Rebecca Schmoy. She just posted this 14 hours ago, so we're getting close to the end here. This is the Kansas Capitol today, and you'll notice that this is Mom's Demand. Their color is red because they hate, and red's a shitty color, and they know it, and they like shitty things. So that's their color, and then you notice the governor who's talking to them is wearing their color, which is a game color, and it's also game symbolism. But this shows you how many people are showing up, how respectful, and how they're just all sitting there, and how uniform they are, not just in their color of shirt, but in the people, right? They're a bunch of very similar people. So, messaging and effectiveness and who's involved on the other side, I suspect it's mostly victims and those who are adjacent to victims, and they're either just upset and rightfully enraged and focused on property or right to own property, or an attempt to do something, or the people that are going to virtue signal with that, off of that end. So I guess the other thing is, okay, so that's that. But this isn't droves and droves of people in buses. This isn't a bunch of kids, right? This is all pretty much, you can see, it's all pretty much the same people, right? They're all different human, but they're all very similar people. And this isn't a bunch of kids. This is Kansas. So it isn't a bunch of anything. It's just what it is. So look at how many it is. They have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Let's say 10 times 10. Let's see. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. If I'm counting it right, 140 chairs sitting there. And I would say, let's say a good chunk of them are filled. If that's 140 chairs, easily 100, if not 120 of those chairs are full from at least this angle. Now, it's possible that a different angle will show a different story. Let's take a look. So here's a top angle, which is a much better version of how to see. But again, if those are 10 chairs, let's count 2, 4, 6, 8, 10. Close enough to be in 10 chairs per row. They have full row, half row, a third row, half row, 1. Okay, it's not that full. So we're talking 10, 12, 15, 18, 19, 24 people out of what would this be? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 60, and they got less than half of the people showing up there. So less than half full on that side, and much more full on this side. This is just the speaker probably standing up there, but full, and then missing 3. So they're missing out of this side 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. They're only missed. They got 57, 56, 55, 54, 53 people sitting over there out of 60. So they took their picture from that side so it would look nice and full. But again, this isn't a bunch of people being bussed in. It isn't a bunch of dogs snoring, little tiny puppy dogs snoring. And it isn't diversity in any way, shape, or form. So what it also isn't is pouring into the hallways and people who are getting up to testify. This is a bunch of people showing up to be talked to and to be the photo opportunity or whatever it's called. It says moms up here, I think. In blue. How weird is that? They don't even have their own color of big word. All right, so I guess in stark contrast with, let's take a look. That was literally the last one. Let's take a look at this Nebraska. This is the last one. Nebraska permitless carry. LB 77 has been introduced. Okay, so I guess it didn't show up in here for some reason. I don't know why. But let's go find, let's take a little wander, shall we? Go over to NFOA. You ever heard of it? NOFA is what I call it. NOFA official is another way to say it. And now, oh, come on. You serious? You serious? They don't post nothing over here? Serious? So now I got to go to NOFA on YouTube. All right, so let's go to YouTube. We got 9 votes. Luger LCR is winning, so that we're taking it there. Let me real quick make another quick vote so we can get a bracket, a full bracket in here. Revolver. The winner of the first one was, I have to go back now. Uh-oh. Where was that thing? Here it is. So the first one, the winner was the Smith & Wesson. What was the winner of the first one? I guess I can just go look. Oh, I can't look over there. Somebody going to say before I find it? Okay, the equipment to start a small biz. And then the winner was the Smith & Wesson 686. Smith and Wesson 686. And then the second one will be the winner of the second one, which was the Smith & Wesson 629. Oh. Oh. And then it'll be the Ruger LCR one, right? So before I hit, I'm going to go look and see what these things even are. So we're going to take a second and go see what a Smith & Wesson 686 is. And then we'll take a look at what a Smith & Wesson 629 is. All right, so a 629 seems like it's a 3-inch. No, it isn't. It is a 44 Magnum. Nice. All right, a 629 is a 44 Magnum. A 686 is a 357. An anemic 357. And the 629 is a robust 44 Magnum. Not overpowering, but strong 44 Magnum. All right, so just so everybody knows, that's what they are. And then a Ruger LCR is what most of us carry. Most of us in the know and who've been there and done it come back and thirst for more, carry the LCR to quench that thirst. So there you go. Now it's up to you to determine who will be tonight's Revolver champion. Now, are you going to find one of these under your chair? I don't know. Maybe. We'll find out. But here's the deal. If you were listening to this in the future, you're probably not going to have anything underneath of your chair. How would we even know that you're listening to this in the future? We know who's listening right now because it's live right now. And we know that there's X amount of people, looks like around 1,000 people listening tonight. And it's possible we have enough interns to send people out, and we're going to sneak up into your room when you're paying attention to the show. I'll do something like wiggle the puppy like this, and you'll go, oh my goodness. Hold on. Let me do that again. If I wiggle the puppy just right and go, oh my goodness, then everybody watches this. That's when we snuck it under your chair. You didn't even realize. But when I second wiggled the puppy, that's when we had our interns leave. So they got in and out. Puppy served his purpose once again. Job well done, puppy. People that sit on the floor like you don't deserve nothing. Oprah can't put nothing under your butt, so she ain't gonna. Our interns ain't gonna put nothing under your butt. If Oprah would have never put nothing underneath of nobody's chair, how would we even know how to broach that subject? They turned out under 20 in Lincoln. No beanbags. Well, you can poke something into a beanbag. It's got to be done the right way, but you can poke something into a beanbag. All right, we're going off on all kinds of tangents here. So we have the poll going now. Everyone who's listening in real time is going to be able to vote on the anemic 357, the robust yet satisfying 44 Magnum, or the Ruger LCR, which is everybody's favorite. And you can determine which is the best, or you can make the worst decisions possible in front of everybody. It's up to you. We're going to close out of there. Thanks again to Skid for the Euro Super Chat, the Baker's dozens of money. Thank you. Let's head back to go back to the first tangent that we left off on. Rebecca Schmoy posting this aerial view of the moms. Now we're heading over to, I'll get rid of one of these. Everybody's seen them. We're going to type in, I have to go to the YouTubes. Hold on. Let me go to YouTubes. I don't like saying YouTube, so I just say YouTubes to save time. Eventually, when it'll show up, whenever it feels like it, it'll show up. We can go again to NOFA, Nebraska Firearms Owners Association, the NOFA. I guess I thought I was looking at NOFA on Instagram when I was actually looking at NOFA here on the YouTube. So what we're looking at here is a stark difference.
All right, everybody, we'd like to welcome you all here today.
Bunch of regular people all standing around. Now, DJ is saying that, how many people is this? Under 20? Well, let's find out. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22. I count at least 22 and maybe even more. So maybe not the 50, 70 something they had over there. But you see both men and women here. I don't know what other, there's a little bit of age, like diversity. But they're not all wearing the same t-shirt and all with the same message. Now I do see some NRA hats. But I guess that's true. So that is Nebraska versus Kansas though. So now That was Kansas. That's Nebraska. Now let's go to search for Minnesota. Oh, I don't need to do it this way. I can just go over here and look for, it's yellow, I think, the Minnesota one. Yep, Minnesota Gun Owners Caucus. I don't know the best way to find it. I'm going to go to their, it might be their lives. No, that's super old. So maybe it's their community tab, or maybe they, oh my goodness, they don't even use their community tab. What the hell? Come on, Minnesota Gun Owners Caucus. Let's see. So if we go back a year ago, so I thought I remember one of Minnesota. I'm almost positive it was Minnesota because they have their capital where you can look down at the people that were there. And if you think of Michigan and Illinois, depending on how they do it, we get a lot of people to show up. And I guess that was what I was going to try to show is there's a difference between the photo op placement of the people that show up. And this isn't a poor attendance. I'm not saying they didn't get people to show up, but it's hardly a overwhelming number of people that were a burden to the facilities. And we can often fill the hallways. We usually fill the room so that the moms need to be the first people there so that they can fill the first few rows and make it look like everyone's on their side. They'll give out shirts often. So it's often that we'll fill up the gun pro rights side, the pro gun owners' rights. We'll often fill the room, but then they'll fill the hallways and stuff because so many more people will show up. But yeah, we're not winning that way. I mean, we definitely have, in addition to the normalization and the awareness of firearms, participation in civic and political stuff. It's not our nature. It's not our country. It might be the realm of new people to the country. Think of if they're correct, depending on who you talk to, there's a lot of new people coming into the country. In our country, when new people come to the country, they typically become part of the mix. And when people become part of the mix, that means they become part of the mix. So once it's theirs, they participate, right? And they have ownership. So to think that because we got a bunch of people that don't participate now, that's what we're doomed to is not necessarily the only option we have. It's possible that the folks that are first, second generation are going to be just as active as other first and second generations have been in the United States over its multi-generational existence. So I guess that's the end of them. So that's taking a look at Instagrams and a couple of riffs. One of the other riffs that we never really went to is this FRAC, Firearms Regulatory Accountability Coalition. So we've got a mission, we got a policy, so I guess we'll go to mission. I don't see an about us. FRAC's sole mission is to aggressively advocate for and defend firearms, ammunition, and accessories manufacturers and importers from government overreach. This includes holding the government accountable for arbitrary and capricious policies and rulings and ensuring the government's regulation of the industry is conducted in an open and transparent manner. FRAC will be the leading advocate of firearms manufacturers, importers, and their customers before federal regulatory agencies. All right, sounds good to me. So we got their mission, I guess we just read. Oh, about us right here. Created by industry leaders and stakeholders to improve business conditions for the firearms industry by ensuring that firearms regulatory agencies, including the Bureau of Alcohol, Tobacco, and Firearms and Explosives, the BTAAFE, operate in a fair, transparent, and consistent manner. Businesses deserve a fair and predictable regulatory and legal environment. FRAC serves as the premier national trade association representing U.S. and international firearms manufacturers, importers, and innovators on regulatory and legislative issues impacting the industry in the United States. And then they show this bogus picture of like fake ammo. Ooh, lost me with the bogus picture of fake ammo. That's weird and creepy. That's like unique ammo. This is like fake metric European ammo. Super sharp tip, but it doesn't matter because it doesn't really have a primer. It just has a bulge. It's like weird and creepy. Worst picture of ammo ever. And then they show a picture of some school. I think this is the Academy of Superhero Sciences or something. It's a school for people who are thinking about having superhero powers, but haven't like actually decided on that yet. I don't know if that's a giant terrarium. There might be a porpoise or something swimming in this fish tank at the beginning of the building, or it's an atrium, and maybe there's like a giant fruit tree growing in there. I don't know. I don't remember if I put frack into Minuteman yet. Let's go look. I kind of think I did, but maybe I didn't. Gun owners' rights groups. Since I list them alphabetic or chronologically, it'll be way down here at the bottom. I did. I kind of remember doing it, but I also didn't do it. So I guess I did not do it. The last thing I put in there was the 2A Task Force, APAGO, Women's Defense Coalition of Delaware, the Latino Rifle Association, which I only put in there because I had to. They're not necessarily all that good. And then sanctuarycounties.com, open source defense. The Hispanic Rifle Association, and then others, but I don't have FRAC. Yep, I guess not. So I guess I have something to do. Am I going to do it right now? No. I was thinking about doing it right now. No, I'm not going to do it right now. All right, so with that, I think we're ending it. I'm getting tired. We've got did I ever talk about this robot we got going on? So I'm going to refresh. Hopefully we got up to 20 backers tonight. Let's see how we did. Nope, we didn't get any new backers. But we're going to keep asking people to participate. We're trying to grab a new robot off of our friends over in Allen Acre. The deal is they have this robot. They don't like it. I do like it. It's a 15-color embroidery machine. It'll allow us to make patches more than we did, better than we did before. It'll also allow us to make embroidered hats and other products. So it's something that we would like to have. We'd like to have as a resource here. However, it's like many thousands of dollars. So since I can't just afford to buy it, we're doing a crowdfunding project. The idea is to get a bunch of people. Everybody throws in $50. 140 people do that. We go over, we make this deal. We get the robot. We bring it back here to Arizona, and we set it all up, and we start making stuff. All the people that put in $50 get stuff, get the first stuff that comes out of that robot. The problem is I haven't made it yet. I don't know how to work the robot, so I don't want to assume nothing. So we're playing it kind of smooth at the beginning. You're going to get a first run of patches that we're doing. What is going on? You'll get the first run of, or you'll get this run of patches that we're going to start here sooner than later. I should have started it last weekend, but I haven't come up with a decent design that I want to do of the mushroom burrito and mellow. But as soon as I come up with a good puppy patch, we'll get that puppy patch started. Everybody who participates is getting a puppy patch. And then, again, anything that gets pushed out of that machine at the beginning will go to those first people who participated in the project. And then we have the skills and a new robot to bring to the mix. So stay tuned for lots of stuff happening once that's out there. Anyway, that's what we're trying to do right now, is get the word out about this project. So thanks to the people who are helping with that. We go along and look at Instagram like this once in a while. We typically do that on Tuesdays. I've got something else I'm attempting to work on this show with. I just got kind of screwed up playing with patches. I've been sorting my patches. I can't tell you how fun it is. I showed you one of those patch panels earlier, but I can't tell you how fun it is to have the patches out now. We'll be doing more videos on them, so you'll see what I'm talking about. But I've had them in bags, and it's so frustrating because I like looking at them. They're cool. The ones that I have, I like. There's reasons I have them and stuff. And I haven't been able to, I don't have a wall where I can put them on. Like some people have cool patch walls. I just don't have that kind of room. So having them on these welcome mats, essentially, which is what they are, from Dollar Tree that cost $1.25 a piece. Thanks again to Patriot for coming up with that idea. Are awesome. So it's essentially like having a big portfolio, like a giant portfolio. I don't know what to call that, like briefcase or something, except that it weighs a lot more because there's a bunch of rubber patches in there. But very cool. I can sort them and I can go through them. And the welcome mat is not just a great size to use. It's a little big, but it's a good size. But it's also the way that the ridges of the hook and loop happen on that welcome mat. It just does not abuse patches to change them around. It holds them really good, but it doesn't hold them so hard that they're abusing the patch when you take them on and off. So they're just a great thing, and I'm having a lot of fun. It's accumulating my collection that's been in like 3 or 4 different places. It still is, but I've been getting a bunch of it together. For me, the danger of eating coffee all the time is that my throat stops making saliva or something. So I have to keep drinking coffee to keep my throat wet. So talking is killing me. I need a co-host. If anybody's interested in being a co-host on an overnight show, soon I can pay you. I'm trying to get some sponsors on board so that I can start paying a co-host to hang out. So if you're looking for big money, fame, and soon fortune to hang out overnight and do a long format show, first hour, Second Amendment. Second hour, guns and stuff. Last portion of the show, getting people ready for the morning. 3 things you need to know. What happened overnight? What happened this week? What's happening? What's about to happen, right? What happened already? What's happening now? And what's coming up? Maybe that's the way to say, what 3 things do you need to know? Something like that. Like what do you need to know? What's wasting your time? And then what's on the way? That could be interesting. Anyway, so Second Amendment for an hour, just bullshit about guns overnight. Let people hang out, for lunch hour for people that are on the night shift, and then get people ready for the day. Give them an intel briefing that's useful, that's not based on fear or other manipulations. That would be awesome. So if you're interested in being that kind of co-host, let me know. We need somebody else to talk. Otherwise, I run out of steam and voice power. So this was a bracket show, not just a regular show, but we call it a bracket show. And in today's bracket show, we were using the list from Gunbroker of the most popular revolvers sold in all of 2022, or was it in December? I think it was all of 22. And it came down to 2 Smith & Wessons and a Ruger. The Ruger is a decent gun of quality that's emotionally strong, yet fun to be around. It's called the Ruger LCR. I like mine without a hammer, without an exposed hammer, so that it's more useful. And if I'm jumping out of a submarine or hanging out of a helicopter or whatever I'm doing, boom, Ruger LCR without a hammer, ready to go, right, move right into action. I use it all the time, constantly. Then there's the anemic, underpowered, some people would say wimpy, 357 Smith & Wesson 686. It's a narrow caliber, very narrow. It's a caliber that's okay when you run it in a Ruger LCR. Then it's totally appropriate. It's actually, it's not overpowered, but it's got so much power that bad guys know what's up, right? They leave you alone. In a 686 though, that's a full size gun, and you can only put a 357 in there. I mean, okay, guy, whatever. Puppy's got to shoot guns too, so that 686 is a great gun to for a beginner gun for a little puppy. Like this little puppy's going to want to shoot a 357, right? Even though he's going to move up to a 44 and he knows it, he's going to want to start out on that 357. It's a good starter pistol for a baby puppy like this one. And then you had your Smith & Wesson 629, a wholesome, energetic, strong, affirmative caliber like 44 Magnum. A lot of people would say America's caliber. A lot of people, it's voted often 90%, 81% of Texans think 44 Magnum is the way to go. They give 44 Magnum 44 thumbs up. But for whatever reason, and again, I'm not trying to caliber shame here. I'm just telling it like it is. This is what happened tonight. Is it true that a bunch of Diane Feinstein caliber club people showed up? I don't know. Who knows what happened tonight? Were we manipulated by some kind of Chinese robot balloon monster? I don't know. I can't tell what happens on the other side of the internet, but I can report what's happening in the poll tonight. The 44 Magnum, America's caliber, is losing 12%. A measly 12% of people voted tonight, the live audience, and we can't vouch for all of them. Who knows who these people are? Only 12% of them voted for the 44 Magnum. 38% of them decided the LCR, probably, I'm hoping, the LCR and 357 Magnum voted, 38% of them voted for that one. You can't fault them for that. It's one of the most popular revolvers ever made in America today, in the United States today, excuse me. But what happened is 50% of the people watching this show live, and we don't know who these people are. Anybody can just show up and vote. 686. The narrow gauge 357 full size. That's like getting a full size fire truck and asking them to put in a 4-cylinder electric engine. Can you give me the largest vehicle you've got with a little moped engine that you have to pedal it to get it going? One of those kind of engines. But that's what was voted on. That's the beautifulness of America, of the United States. Why do I keep saying America? The beauty of the United States is that people can vote for whatever they want. It's not illegal for people to vote for a Smith & Wesson 686 above the North American Arms, which was the 5th most popular gun sold in the United States. How cool is that? Anyway, this was a lot of fun doing a bracket, even though I don't care. 686 is an okay gun. I just would rather carry around a Ruger LCR. And if I had to play with a firearm, I'd rather play around with that 629. That looked like a fun 44 Magnum. My 44s have always been Tauruses. And, I don't like Tauruses. There's a reason. And my Tauruses didn't shoot, they weren't that great. Let's just put it like that. Wait a minute. Do I still have that 44? No, I think I got rid of all my 44s. So 44s, one of my favorite calibers to shoot it. It's a fun caliber. You can load it up and down all over the place, and there's all kinds of revolvers for it. And you can shoot it in a Eagle. So you got that going for you too. All right, well, you can't linger it out any longer. I tried to linger it as long as I could, but nothing happened. We still got a 686 leading the way. And unfortunately for everyone, the Smith & Wesson 686 won tonight's bowl. Here's the thing. If you voted for it, you got a free one. We put it underneath your chair earlier when you weren't looking. So feel around underneath your chair. There's a free 686 just for the people that voted for it. Everybody else that didn't vote for it, you don't get nothing free. This ain't communism. Budman is saying the 686 will be my next revolver. It will be right now for free if you look underneath your chair if you voted for it. If the first poll had a plus after the 686, I would have voted for it. The thing is, I'm biased because I own a judge in 454. Oh, okay. Is that a regular judge? That's like a screaming maxi judge or something. That's like a fancier judge than a regular judge, right? Is it the raging judge? I can't remember what designation the raging. Is that the larger frame or is that the caliber? I don't know the judges good enough. For the first little while, I thought judges were super cool and the world was really taken by them. And then Raging Judge Magnum. Seriously? That's pretty cool. So I know that they started to play with it a little bit. And there's like the public defenders and there's the judges. And then, of course, Smith & Wesson came along with the governor. So anyway, I thought that was a lot of fun. And that was a fun couple of years. One of the only times, really, I decided personally to go in and attempt to get the first video out from SHOT Show was the governor. So I forget how many years later. That was like 7 years after they made the judge or something. Smith & Wesson finally was like, you know what? Screw them. We're going to turn the tables on Taurus and we're making a governor. And I was like, oh man, I'm going to get the first review. I can't remember. I think I got the first review, but it might have been the second one uploaded, if that makes sense. Even though I went in and filmed it first, I couldn't get it uploaded and edited before somebody else came in and got theirs recorded and edited before I could get mine uploaded. But still had fun with that one. All right, with that, we're ending this one. I think we hit everything we were going to hit tonight. I was going to hit this dog a few times, but he's sleeping. It's no fun hitting him when he's sleeping. I'll wait till he's jumping all around. All right, if you're still listening, thanks for joining us. Let's see. There is definitely some good stuff to check out. Let's go check out my history and see what there is that's worth checking out there. If you're still going to be awake after this. John Lott continues to post really quick little clips from the TV shows that are out there, attempting to move the Overton window. You have Michael Cargill talking to that guy from Frack that we talked about. We had a pretty good chat on the overnight last night. 2 nights ago. What am I thinking? No, wait. Yeah, 2 nights ago. Suicide prevention Saturday was a good one, about a half an hour long. This HR Funk, his ex-police chief, had an interesting message to law enforcement officers. At the same time, 2A Cops has gone viral based off of people hating them because they're cops. What? Yeah, that's interesting. You had a super cool conversation between 2 Apache pilots. So Combat Story is an Apache pilot and then went to the CIA. So he interviews a guy who was an Apache pilot. I'm pretty sure he was before the guy he interviews was an Apache pilot before the guy who hosts the show was a pilot. So they were, they were actually in school at the same time, but different places or different, just didn't cross paths. Ron and Mary's been posting awesome shorts. Almost all of them are worth listening to. Barbecue had a couple of shows. Roll Call had a show the other day. Might be interesting to listen to if you're up and looking for something to listen to. I don't know if you listen to Four Boxes Diner, but that's worth listening to. Tony Simon was on Gun Freedom Radio this week. Liberal Gun Club did a great wrap-up of their SHOT Show experiences. That's worth checking out. And now I'm definitely getting into last week's stuff, but this shortwave Warlords Radio, if you've thought about being a ham radio operator, man, you definitely want to listen to people who know what they're talking about and save your money. Like, it's just such a fantasy to purchase a radio. So, or at least if you're going to purchase a radio, understand that you're going to be monitoring it. And all you need to do is listen. Don't get hung up in the talking of it, part of it. It's just such a waste. So this is a great, it's an hour long. I might actually listen to it again soon because it was such a great, more than introduction. It was such a great summary of the situation. Out of Battery, is that the I thought I have them in here. Isn't that the Builders? I thought I watched them. Whoops. This channel? Yeah, 3D printing and stuff. Yeah. I've been watching, I'll usually watch a portion of it. Like this last one was from a couple of days ago. They're on like Friday nights, I think, or something. So they're on either right before or after something else that I'm watching. So I'll usually watch a portion of it. Oh, sorry. I thought it was muting. Let's see. So then Budman saying if I had a judge and a 686 Plus in front of me and the LCR and could only pick one and the other would no longer exist, I would pick the 686. Interesting. I don't know where you get the other one would never exist. That seems like something, that seems like the kind of situation that a 9mm caliber enthusiast would have to put on the, like a caveat that they'd have to put on there in order for someone to choose 9mm. Like, oh, what if we made the other one not even exist anymore? So by choosing this one, there was world peace. But by choosing the decent caliber, then there's never going to be world peace. You know, that's the kind of thing they would have to do. All right. Well, with that, I definitely have fallen asleep. Maybe. No, because it's a 3-hour show for one thing. And also because this dog is sleeping so soundly over here, not helping me keep the show going at all. I already have one set up for tomorrow with Clover, which I'll probably oversleep. So tomorrow at some point in the morning, we'll be going live with Clover, doing channel coaching, talking about collaborations and how to work with others, how to get folks as sponsors and that kind of stuff. No, how to get people on as guests on an interview show, not so much sponsors and stuff. We did that like last week. All right. So otherwise, other people do shows throughout the week. You can check those out over at gunchannels.com. We have a link or a list over there of a bunch of different channels that do live shows, that host interviews or that host conversations. And if we're missing something, let us know. I think I haven't pulled Gizzard off of Sundays over there, so I got to update that at some point. or if we've got any old ones in there that aren't working anymore, that aren't doing it anymore, let us know. And we'll be back tomorrow for another edition of our Daily Gun Show. Hope everybody has a great rest of your night, and we'll be back to pick you up later. GearWebsites.com is your source for firearms-based playing cards and books. We also have mugs, shirts, and posters with designs that we've made live. Of course, we have patches. Every Friday is Free Patch Friday. We appreciate your support. Thank you for shopping at GearWebsites.com.